Yeah, ain't no L's, I gotta get it, no call and quits. Yeah, gotta keep on moving no matter how hard it gets. Yeah, better move out the way cause I'm coming with harder hits. My head is as hard as a brick, but I'm harder than all of this. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. My heart on my sleeve, stress, shield my greed. That's how I get it. Success ain't no given. Some days I don't eat, I don't sleep. When I'm focused, I'm dangerous. Down, wonder when I'm anxious. Ain't no limit till I tank. I'm running on fumes. The opposition don't amaze. The roads racing through the pavement. Get your hands out of my bag. I know that's because I've been in it. I don't need the brag. I guess that's what happens when you taking care of your business. But some family, you do the math. I'm out of my pocket. Houston, we got a problem, man. Perfect, let them watch me. Elevating, got them nauseous. Cause I'm the pilot in the cockpit. Nose diving in the house. And whoo! Watch out, get ahead. Watch out, get ahead. Watch out, get ahead. Woo! Watch out, set it up. Bet you I shut it down. Watch out, get a win. I don't think they really wanna come against the winner. Got a finger run up in a grenade. I ain't never been there when you think you compare to my line, but the winner about the cage. I need all the wins. Yeah, ain't no L's, I gotta get it, no call and quits. Yeah, gotta keep on moving no matter how hard it gets. Yeah, better move out the way cause I'm coming with harder hits. My head is as hard as a brick, but I'm harder than all of this. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide, never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like, yeah, you about to see me on demand like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand, yeah. I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the roll, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the roll, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On a roll, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Frankie Candles YouTube channel. And we got an amazing show for you tonight, Mafia. Going back and forth with Tony here, Mr. Tony D, about the thumbnail. But, guys, thank you for tuning in. Smash that like button, guys. Don't forget, every 100 likes we get, you get a spin on the wheel of pain and pleasure. And, guys, yesterday we hit our like goal, so we will be giving away $500 in Cardano to one lucky CandleMafia member. So tune into tomorrow's live stream if you want a chance to win that giveaway. But, yeah, smash up that like button, guys. If we get 1,000 likes on today's video. I don't know if we're going to get the same viewership as we got yesterday with the ETF approval. But 550 likes, we will spin that wheel 10 times. So smash up that like button, guys. It'll result in you guys potentially winning some more free crypto. This might actually be our biggest giveaway now. But shout out to Creighton C, bro. Thank you so much for the super chat. He said, I see the whales gave the ETF noobs the official crypto welcome. That is right, Creighton C. Shout out to you, bro. A lot of people called me crazy for looking for a rejection at the macro golden pocket. But once again, guys, we simply keep our focus on the charts and mute all the other noise. So shout out to Creighton C. Good point, bro. We're going to be taking a look at that as Bitcoin got a hard rejection at that macro golden pocket that we've been looking at, guys, for over a year, waiting for that target to get hit. And finally, we hit that golden target that we've been looking at. So what does this mean? Are we ready for a bigger cool-off, guys? Or are we going to get one last shot to the upside, potentially targeting another extremely key level to fake out all the bears and then get a rejection? Or are we simply just going to moon to 100K? We're going to talk about all of this on tonight's live stream, guys. But before we jump into the charts, I see the bing bongs in the chat. Shout out to you guys. We got golden emojis in the chat. But let's go ahead and say what's up to the Mafia. Before we jump into the charts, guys, we got a saucy live stream for you guys tonight. We got Tyler Durden. As always, good to see you, bro. Thank you for everything you do here on the Frankie Candles YouTube channel. We appreciate you. Speaking of mods, guys, we got Rob the Crypto Snob, Crypto Billy, Crypto Anon, Deep Eddie Crypto Chemistry, bro. You guys know who they are. Captain Kirk. Show him some love in the chat. We got Crypto Wilson saying, hi, Frankie. What's up, Wilson? What's going on, bro? Thank you for tuning in. We got Jessica, our female CandleMafia representative. We got Brian in the chat. Jessica, we have not forgotten, Jessica. We will keep you updated on those pink Frankie Candles hats. Don't you worry. But shout out to 2K in the chat saying, smash that like button. 2K said it, not me. We got Kyle Owen in the chat saying, Frank the Tank. Shout out to you, bro. Starting to try to work out. Maybe I could turn into Frank the Tank. Shout out to you, bro. We got Dreamer in the chat. We got Real List. This channel is #1. Shout out to the realist. I mean, that is the realist real of real. I appreciate that chat, bro. Thank you so much. We got Invisible in the chat. Can't see you, but I assume you're there. Crypto Naughty, what is going on? Red Elephant said, my hat is on the way. I got the black and gray. Shout out to Red Elephant. That's actually my favorite hat, and I'm actually going to put it on. Mrs. Candles, can you bring me that black and gray hat that's on the table? Shout out to Mrs. Candles. She's going to bring me that hat, bro, and we're going to match. Shout out to you, bro. We got DV, we got Jurgen, and last but not least, we got Donato Cabrera, and we got Wick and Wick's wife, 589. Shout out to you guys. Thank you so much for being here. And without further ado, spam those Mrs. Candles hands in the chat so when she comes here, she knows that you guys love her. Look at the hands. You guys are insane. Shout out to Wick's wife, 589 says, when's that happening, Frankie? 24/7, please. Shout out to Wick's wife. It's on the, it's by the, yeah. Thank you. You're the best, Mrs. Candles. Anyway, look at the hands. I don't even think she saw them, guys. But she's coming right back. But let's go ahead, guys. And while we're waiting for Mrs. Candles to bring that hat, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts and start this TA because we got some interesting stuff to look at. Let's jump into it. Bing, bong. Here we go. So here we are, guys. Now, obviously, oh my God, look at these hands, yo. You guys are out of control with the Mrs. Candles hands. Shout out to the Candle Mafia. Guys, we're going to get Mrs. Candles to do a face reveal one day. I'm going to try to do it. You guys know what her hands looks like, but nobody knows what her face looks like. But let's see. Shout out to Mike K. Says, yo, Frankie, thank you. I did my first Bitcoin long at 48% gains at 10x leverage. Shout out to Mike K. Shout out to you, bro. Let's go. Bing bong. Shout out to you for your gains. And hopefully I was able to assist you in to doing the TA and figuring out if it was going to be a good trade or not. And 48% in profit. Seems like you did a pretty good job. We're going to throw some money for you, bro. Let's go. I think it's a little bit over $2,000. Let's get it, baby. Bing bong. Shout out to you, bro. I mean, you're throwing money of your own, apparently, so shout out. But let's go ahead and check out the charts here, guys. Look at the hands continuing in. I think Mrs. Candles is, like, really looking for that hat. She can't find it. But anyway, guys, let's go ahead and zoom out here really quickly and take a look at what we got going on, right? So, obviously, guys, we have finally hit our macro golden pocket retracement, which, as you know, has been oh, Mrs. Candles, check out these hats. Check out these hands. These are not hats. Check out these hands. I don't know why you did this. Look at this. Mrs. Candles, look at me. I'm going to scroll up. Look at these people. These people love you. The Mafia is on your side, Mrs. Candles. Not that we're against each other, but look at those hands. Nothing but skin in the chat. But Mrs. Candles, I don't know. Okay, this is the new model, she said. It comes with its own head. Pretty nice. Shout out to Mrs. Candles. Thank you for bringing it. Can I take it off? Beautiful. So these are gonna be on the merch store soon, guys. They're Frankie Candles hat holders, so they keep their shape and they have faces. So shout out to Mrs. Candles' hands. But now let's go ahead. Oh, and shout out to Wick real quick for that super chat, bro. Thank you so much. He said excited for the Mrs. Candles sock puppet TA show. We should do that. We should do that. She's just up here doing and I'm like on the keyboard doing the TA, and she's just narrating it. I like that, Wick. I like that. But as we come up to hit this macro target, guys, guys, these hands are insane. But we come up to hit our macro golden pocket, guys. This is a target that we've been looking at on this channel for a long time. We had even been estimating that we could potentially get a retracement up to this level, not only from the bottom of the bear market, but we even anticipated this as we were making these significant lows down here. Obviously we didn't, the fib levels move the lower we go, obviously, or the higher you go. But guys, we've been looking at this since we started getting big drops in the bear market, trying to anticipate when the bottom came in, where we could potentially see that macro golden pocket pull up to. And we anticipated a potential revisit of that level. Now, not only were we looking at this about 8 months ago in one of my Bitcoin deep dives, but we have been looking at this on the live stream literally since back here in like July of 2022, and probably even a little bit before, anticipating that macro golden pocket retracement, very similar to what we saw happen. Right here in 2019, right? Old news. We've talked about this before. I'm not going to harp on it, but we have finally actually tapped that level, right? So let me go ahead and turn on our macro volume profile and get the actual key levels up here. So, and again, right, not only is this a macro golden pocket, guys, but on top of that, it is our macro value area high. And we know once you flip that value area low, excuse me, you get a move to the POC and a potential move up to the value area high, like we look at time and time again on this channel, and time again, they continue to pay us out. So what does this mean? As we hit this monumental resistance, is this the most bearish thing ever? Are we seeing, number one, are we seeing bearish signals? Hint, hint. Check out Market Cypher B right now. Are we seeing bearish signals? Is it likely to get a pullback here? Or are we more likely to get an absolute rip to the upside based off the ETF narrative, right? And I will tell you this. It's a little bit of a hard question to answer, right? Now, what I will do is best prepare you guys for any scenario that happens, whether we get a big rip to the upside, whether we get a big correction here, or whether we go sideways, right? So, number one thing I want you guys to realize here is there's been something very specific that we've been looking at, not only waiting for this macro golden pocket, but, and as you guys know, this is the area where I am open to start looking for swing long positions, right? Now, I am not in that big position just yet. However, I am in search for it, right? As soon as I'm able to get these confirmations to go short, I will take the trade. However, as you guys know, there are some things we've been looking at in this local price action for a potential pullback even before we got this next move to the upside. And basically, what those signals are simply bearish divergences on the higher time frames with money flow coming out, which is starting to come back up here. But we did start to put these bearish divergences in, even before we ripped up here, right? We had our higher highs on our price action right here, at least on the 16-hour, and then you had your lower highs on your momentum waves on the 16-hour with your money flow coming out, and we did wind up getting a pullback there, right? So I want to be very clear. Just because we see high time frame bearish divergences does not mean that we're going to get a massive move to the downside, especially, we talk about this all the time, especially in such a bullish market, right? When you're in a bullish trend like we are right now, even the higher time frame bear divs can oftentimes not give you the moves you expect, right? So if I just grab our trend line here, you can see we had higher highs here. This is in the bear market rally of 2019. And we had higher highs on our price action here. This is the 16-hour time frame. Lower highs on our momentum waves. Money flow was starting to flow out. And this is where a lot of people expect Bitcoin to go like dump, right? Now, granted, this was a tradable level. This is why we look at them, because you could always capitalize on these moves. But in a bullish trend like this, guys, even big high time frame bearish divergences oftentimes don't give you the moves that you would expect, right? Because obviously the trend is up. So you want to be trading with the trend, right? The trend is your friend until the end, right? Now, in a bear market, right, like basically throughout this whole bear market, bearish divergences in a bear market like this will likely play out much, much better, right? Because you're simply just using those as signals to get into a position and continue riding the trend, which is down, at least in a bear market. So you can see in a bear market here, you had higher highs on your price action, and you had lower highs on your momentum waves, right? And your money flow was coming out. But in a bear market, you could see that wound up resulting, in a 37% drop over time, where in the 2019 bull market, or bear market rally, I should say, this little 16-hour bearish divergence only wound up giving you a pullback of about 16%, right? So you have to you have to understand the environment that you're trading in, right? And obviously, this environment is very bullish, especially with the ETF news. So, I was on Sin City Crypto earlier today, and we were kind of talking about, David was saying, like, potentially we could see the ETF news just completely step on these signals, right? And I 100% agree. So you have to be very careful with the bearish signals like we have been on this entire move to the upside. People might say to yourself, anytime we're looking at a short or we're trying to short, people are just like, a lot of people are like, why the heck is this guy shorting in a bull market? And the simple answer is because we know the environment that we're in. So when we look for these shorts, we're simply being very conservative with the shorts, and then we're being very greedy with the longs, which I am still holding from down here as well as down here. So I am still long from these two positions, which is why I'm not looking at any new long positions, at least as of right now. If we get a significant pullback, I will definitely be looking to potentially buying the dip, assuming that we get the signals I'm looking for, right? I'm not just blindly longing the dip, right? But as of right now, I'm simply like, a lot of people are looking for fresh longs here. And in my opinion, granted, I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, right? And it's not a big deal. But, a lot of people are like looking for fresh longs here, saying like ETF approved, we're going to $1 million. Why would you look for a short? Well, if you were looking for a short at the golden pocket where we expected the rejection, you would have had a significant move to the downside today of about 7%. You can make money on these moves, right? And then if once you get that move to the downside, you can lock in profits and move your stop loss to your entry point, guaranteeing that you win the trade and limiting your loss to nothing, right? You're making money if you get stopped out in profit. So, and then what you do is you set yourself up to be in a beautiful position, right? Because sure, you took the short, right? You're in profit. You paid yourself. Your stop loss is at your entry level, right? And then if this does wind up giving you a bigger correction, this will turn from a little scalp trade into a much bigger swing position. So that's kind of one way you can handle this, right? And again, with the ETF news, I want to be clear. It's not impossible to get a gigantic move to the upside out of nowhere, right? We don't know what's going to come next. This is the most bullish catalyst for crypto that we've ever seen. So we just simply don't know what's going to happen. But from a chart perspective, right, simply put, narratives aside, simply put, from the charts, guys, momentum coming out, money flow coming out, VWAP rolling to the downside on the daily. If we print a red dot on this momentum wave, guys, it is likely going to give us that bear div, and it would be a great signal to potentially get a bigger move to the downside. Now, again, it doesn't mean that you have to hold this trade forever. I would still be conservative with the shorts somewhat, right? Depending on the context, right? It really depends on your strategy. Like the trades that I take and the reasoning for them may be a little bit different because you're not holding the same trades I am. You're not using the same amount of money. You might be, but chances are everyone's using somewhat of a different amount of money, right? And we all have different strategies. So you have to be careful. So on the charts here, guys, daily, like this is the daily bear div into monumental resistance. So you cannot ignore that. Granted, could it get invalidated and we continue up? Absolutely, especially with that bullish catalyst of the ETFs. But you can't just ignore these signals, right? So simply put, I am looking for shorts up here, right? And on top of that, you just want to think, right? Like, and again, we'll talk about the bullish case. Like I said, where there are some targets ahead. If we wind up going ballistically to the upside, there are some other targets we can look at. But simply said, guys, oftentimes when you get to the low of a bear market or the high of a bull market, oftentimes that's when these crazy bullish things happen, right? You get these bullish news coming out, the ETF was approved. This is kind of a very specific situation, right? Like we've never seen this before. But, comparing the ETF approval to, some kind of like fugazi narrative that we're getting at the top of the bull market to get everybody to FOMO in for exit liquidity is two totally separate things, right? This is a legitimate bullish catalyst, which is going to bring a monumental amount of money into the space and likely cause absolute life-changing gains into the next bull run. I want to be very clear. I am extremely bullish on these ETFs. Very bullish for crypto. The most bullish thing that's ever happened to crypto, right? And it is likely going to create life-changing wealth, right? So, but again, we're traders here. So we are taking advantage of all moves up and down. So simply put, very, very important resistance here. Taking a look at the, let's see, take a look at the 4-hour here. And yeah, obviously, guys, many orders sitting up here at 48K, right? Everyone's anticipating this level. And just one more time, I want to hammer home the point of these value areas, right? Because I know a lot of people are like, yeah, I don't know, man, but like, is it really going to go up to the value area high? Literally just comes up and taps it, right? Like, these are magical levels, or at least so it seems. Obviously, they're not magical, and they are wrong sometimes. I want to be very clear. But this is kind of how I'm handling the price action right now. So that's kind of the bearish case. On top of that, higher highs into our key level of resistance, lower highs on the daily, giving us that potential bearish divergence, which may or may not start printing today or tomorrow with the addition of money flow coming out. Now, one thing that I would pay attention to is the fact that we are getting the 12-hour money flow continuing into the green here, or crossing back up into the green, as well as the 16-hour. And if you guys watch the show, you will know we literally talked about this happening, right? Where you have to understand that you're in a bullish trend, and there's a good chance or a good possibility that we could see a fake out into the red and then back into the green, simply put, because we're in a bullish trend, right? And we literally compared this to this moment right here, that same area that I was just looking at, right? You had the bear div on the daily. You got a little bit of a pullback, but money flow wound up just kind of skirting the zero line and coming back up into a big green wave, giving us our next leg to the upside, which actually wound up being the golden pocket retracement, right? So this is kind of what we were potentially looking for before we went out to get that last push to the golden pocket. That's what we saw, right? Money flow on the 16-hour came almost into the red and then came right back into the green, which is very interesting, right? Because right now, if we were to see this continue up and give us another push to the upside, there are some very interesting levels we can look at. And number one, first level I'd be looking at is, simply put, right here. Well, there's two levels, right? Because we look at two main different charts here. We look at spot charts and the leverage charts. I like to look at the Bitstamp chart or the Coinbase chart, and then I like to look at the Bybit chart as well. So number one, we have the next key level of resistance if we continue to the upside. Because remember, I'm sure, granted, I'm not a big... let me mark that out, 786, right? So this is coming in at $57,500 is that 786 retracement, right? So for the bulls out there who are praying for a move to the upside, I would expect that to be the next target to potentially come up and hit at some point if we break the value area high and start to deviate. So on top of that, let's pull up the Bybit chart, right? Because these levels do slightly differ, right? So let's go ahead and we'll get rid of this, and we'll just hide all the rest of this TA. Bada boom, bada boom, bada boom. Hide this, hide that, bada bang. Okay, there we go. So let's pull this Bybit golden pocket right about, I guess I'll just do it manually, right about there. And you can see we are, well, actually, I guess, what is this sitting at? I guess they are I guess they're basically at the same level. They're not, this 786 is actually coming in a little bit higher at about $57,690. So they are actually a little bit closer than I had realized, or I thought. But it is a little bit higher, right? So for that sake, let's just keep it simple and stick to the Bitstamp chart, right? So next key level is going to be up there, guys. And we do still have some key levels above, right, before we get to that 786. And the next real key level that I would be looking at would be about $50,000, right, which is number one, the top of the golden pocket, and number two, also a naked point of control, and number three, the simple psychological level of $50,000, right? So if you thought a lot of people had limit orders set here to short or take profit, right, at 48K, you would imagine that $50,000 even psychological level is probably going to give you an even bigger pullback or just a bigger fight, right? Which is what would be anticipated. It's not guaranteed, right? But I would definitely not ignore that level, right? So second level of local resistance at this point would be about $50,290 to about $50,000 even. And then shout out to Darren Does Things. I don't know if he's in here today, but he brought up that we did have a naked point of control sitting right at that same level. So let me go ahead and pull. I want to pull up Trading Light really quickly. So let me go ahead and pull this up so we could take a look at where those naked points of control are sitting. I believe it is a daily naked point of control. And guys, let's just talk about this real quick, right? Who was watching the chart this morning, right? As we're looking to come into that value area high golden pocket, insta-dump from our level, right? There is a reason we look at these levels. We don't just look at where we think resistance is going to come in. There is a lot of thought that goes into this analysis, right? It's not just the fact that it's the golden pocket. It's not just the fact that it's the value area high. It has a lot to do with liquidity and, indicators. Tons of different things go into these levels. It's not like, I get very, and it's not that we're always going to see these beautiful reactions at our levels, but I just want to let you guys know how sound the TA that we teach here on the channel is. It's not just some willy-nilly, fugazi imaginary levels or lines on charts, guys. This is well thought out information. We spend a lot of time on this. So let's see. If we jump here into Trading Light really quick, BTC USD, I'm going to pull up my naked point of control preset here and see if we can get enough price action here to potentially, we're definitely going to have to come off the 5 minute to find this. And let's see if we can spawn these naked points of control and see. I don't know exactly. Yeah, okay, let's zoom in here. Bada boom. Okay, so zooming in right about here. Yeah, so this is coming in. I have one closer to about 51K. We do have another naked point of control, so that is going to be another level to be looking at. However, depending on what exchange you're looking at, what tool you're using to find these naked points of control, you will get slightly different levels, right? Typically, I like to use order flow software such as ExoCharts or Trading Light, being that their volume calculations are a bit more accurate because they use real-time data, right? That's very important to realize. You could easily find these naked points of control on the TradingView chart. I have a tutorial on the channel to show you guys how to do that. So you guys can get these even if you don't have ExoCharts or Trading Light or anything to find these naked points of control. You can find them for free on TradingView, right? And I show you guys exactly how to do that in the video. Mods, if one of the mods can share that video, it would be super, super helpful. But as we continue on here, let's check it out. Let's pull up the naked points of control on TradingView. And let's see. We're going to have to go back in time just a little bit let's see. We'll go back here and see if we can find a $50,000 naked point of control. Yeah, which is sitting right about here. 49,314. We do have one, but again, I'm sure whatever Darren Does Things is looking at, he definitely does have that 50K naked point of control. But looking at Trading Light here, again, 50,000, I would call it 50,800, 50,900. That is worth taking a look at, guys. So let's go ahead and zoom back in, turn off the naked points of control. 50,900 is simply sitting just above this golden pocket, right? Just above the golden pocket. So this is definitely going to be a level that you're going to want to look at, right? So I'm going to go ahead and let's go ahead and NPOC that, right? So again, pretty close to the golden pocket. And remember, guys, once we peak over this level, we are going to be dealing with the idea that we are deviating outside of our value area. Even if we go for the 786, this could be a sign that we are a little bit overbought, right? That's kind of how you want to think of things. This is considered, these value areas are typically considered a fair price for Bitcoin, right? Granted, when you're looking at them in such a macro kind of point of view like we are right here, it's a little bit harder because this was an area of value throughout the entire bull market, basically between. Come on with the measuring tool. Why is this thing always broken? Yeah, so, over a year, that was our area of value. And just because we deviate above does not mean that we're going to get a rejection all the way back down to the low. So I want to be clear about that. But, just locally, as we come up here, this is typically where you would be looking for shorts, even if it's going to be a short-term retracement before continuing back to the upside. So just being very cautious here, guys. But again, if we get that mega bullish move, I would be looking at the 786. And then we do also simply have some value area levels from basically the top of the bull market where we have another naked point of control at about $61,182. This is likely going to be, at that point, once we flip that 786, I've said this many times, really once we flip that 786, this is where I expect to come attack that all-time high, right? Because, that's kind of where I'm licking my wounds. If I do wind up taking a swing short up here, once we cross that 786, flip it to support, I'm like, all right, you know what? Let's take the loss here, take the small loss, walk away. lick our wounds, and then just look for the next trade, right? But these are the next targets to the upside. So again, though, I would be cautious. I don't want to sound like bearish here, right? Because I'm definitely not like super bearish. But right now, like I'm not opening any fresh longs right now. I'm simply holding my longs from lower and potentially anticipating this daily bear div to eventually print and give us a little bit more of a pullback to the downside. Now the question is, Frankie, if we rip to the downside, where is the next likely place for price to go? Now locally, depending on how aggressive this move down gets, simply put, guys, game of volume profiles. Now, one thing I will say, beautiful break out of the range, beautiful retest of the previous value area high. This is typically a bullish scenario, right? So again, not impossible to break up here, come up to some of these higher targets, potentially getting to the $57,000 level. I wouldn't expect it like tomorrow, unless it was based off of some kind of crazy news. But if we do come down, guys, number one, I would be looking down towards this point of control at $43,600, almost $44K, right? $43,698. This point of control and this value area high are going to be key levels to watch, right? So I'm going to go ahead and draw a box there. Now, please remember, these are somewhat local, right? So if we do get the cool off of that bearish divergence on the daily with the money flow continuing to come to the downside, this is where I would probably expect lower prices. I wouldn't necessarily be looking for a long here. Granted, scalp longs, potentially, right? You come back here, I would expect a bounce here for sure, right? But once we get into this range and come back down, it is more likely to come down to the value area low, right? Simple volume profile, get stuck under the value area high, lose the POC, next place to go is the value area low. Really, the real saucy levels here, guys, in my opinion, if I could have it my way, if it was like Burger King, guys, at BK, you got it. No, that's not it. What is it? Have it your way, guys. Let me know in the chat. What is the have it your way? Isn't that Burger King? What is that saying? Let me know, guys. Let me know. I'm not a saying guy. You guys know that. Shout out to Matt Nixie. Shout out to you. Said Frankie is where it's at. Shout out to Matt. I'm here. I'm just dropping the value, bro. I appreciate you for being here. Yo, Cisco Kid says Bitcoin is always too expensive to buy and always too cheap to sell. Shout out to Cisco Kid. Whataburger is better. Shout out to Tyler Durden. I've only had Whataburger one time. Oh yeah, at BK, have it your way. Okay, I thought it was at BK you got it. I'm mixing it up, but shout out to you guys. Okay, so yeah, if it was like Burger King and I could have it my way, guys, simply put, the next levels of support that I would really love to come test, guys, is we have these untapped daily naked points of control sitting down here, right? So here's the thing. I'm not guaranteeing that we come down to this area, right? But keep in mind, we also didn't guarantee we were going to come up to this target. It was very likely, but we have to keep in mind that nothing is guaranteed in TA, right? Nothing is guaranteed in the markets. Nothing is guaranteed in trading. And if you start thinking like that, you're going to wind up losing a whole lot of money. So, we knew this was likely to get hit, but we can't say it's guaranteed, right? Because that's a dangerous way to think. But if I could have it my way, shout out to Burger King, I would love to really, if I were to, Frankie, where you open a new longs, right? I'd simply be looking down here to these two naked points of control, right? And we've been looking at these forever, right? Ever since we got the move up, we've been looking at these naked points of control. And to be quite honest with you, kind of thought there was going to be a better chance to revisit these first and then enter a fresh long position to eventually come up to the macro golden pocket. But again, we're not upset that this didn't happen, right? Because it's an if this, then that statement. So if we came down here, we would have looked for a fresh long, but we didn't. We came up here first. So if we wind up rejecting the golden pocket, here's the if this, then that statement for Bitcoin. If we get the hard rejection, the daily bear div confirms, money flow continues to the downside, and we get a big correction, these are the local areas of support. Value area high, POC, value area low. And locally, if you're trading these on the lower time frames, guys, it's a beautiful thing because you could get some nice short-term trades within this range, right? And then once you come down to the value area low, you got to be careful because just because you get into this range does not mean you're going to break down to these MPOCs. You have to be aware that you could potentially get a bounce off that gold value area low, right? You do not want to short support. You want to short resistance, right? So if you're coming down to this value area low and you're like, oh my God, and we start losing the value area low, chances are that you don't want to short support, right? You want to short resistance. You want to short as you're going up, right? When price is pumping, that's when you look for shorts, right? At least in the context of scalping, right? And then when you're, and then in the longer term context, obviously a long-term bullish trend, you want to be longing the dips, right? That's obvious. But, when price is pumping and everyone's saying you're an idiot, ETF is approved, why are you looking for shorts? It's typically when you get the moves down, right? So short at support and then, short at resistance. I want to be clear there. Short at resistance as you're coming up. That's where you want to look for the shorts. But if you come back into this range, guys, and you start losing this value area low, I think a lot of people will wind up getting caught on the wrong side of the trade, as they'd probably get. Even if we're going to come visit the MPOCs, you're probably going to get a local bounce in that range at the value area low because we're at support. And if that happens, you don't want to take the short at support. You want to wait for the bounce and then look for the short at resistance, which could be at the value area high POC area here. So I don't want to try to give you guys where exactly what price action is going to do, but this is what gives us context. So if we get the move down, simply put, you're looking to the lower range, which again is coming in right here. And if you guys want prices on these, it's coming in between 41,363 and 44,341. These are the next levels. Now, once you start losing this range, I would be looking down towards these MPOCs, and this would be the first area where I'd be willing to start looking for longs, right? So if I get my confirmations here, I may potentially look to fill up on another long position. So there you go. These are the key moves, key levels to the downside if we get the bearish case to play out. And then if the bullish case winds up playing out, again, people might say, well, if we break out, where should I get into a long? And simply put, guys, sure, I could probably come down to the 10-minute, right, and find you guys a local long entry. But to me, right, thinking as a treating my trading as a business and having sound psychology and not trying to FOMO in, I wouldn't recommend anybody really. I mean, listen, could you long here and we break out? Absolutely. Right. Man, those stocks are really trying to call me. They're like, come on, Frankie, come back to stocks, brother. That crypto stuff's a scam anyway. The ETF just got approved, S&P. We don't need you anymore. Bitcoin's official now. Again, I'm not opening fresh longs here. I need a pullback. With the way I trade, I need a pullback for a long. And then if we get a breakout, it's fine, right? Because in my opinion, when someone says, where should I enter a long? My natural answer is if you wanted to long the ETF, the longs were down here. I'm long from $26,000, right? Like the longs were to be had down here and right here. You could find some local entries here, but I'd be very careful because you have a lot of resistance ahead. So that's just my thoughts. Again, not that we can't break out. Who knows? You can find a local entry here and it could wind up ripping to, 80K, right? Who knows? I highly doubt that's going to happen like tomorrow. But, we got resistance here. We've gotten the big wick to the upside. And on top of that, guys, we actually have seen some bearish stuff here on this wick. Now, if we zoom into the local price action, you can see that we actually wound up swing failing the value area high almost perfectly, right? We get the wick above, come back down, and then you close your candles below. And oftentimes, now this is the Bitstamp chart. If we come up to the Bybit chart, you can see, right? We basically swung failed that golden pocket like perfectly, right? We got ripped to the upside, back down, close the candles below. And can I point something out to you guys? Now, we look at this every single day on the live stream. Not every single day, but as you guys know, oftentimes we will look at the liquidation heat maps, right? Where we can see where the liquidity is sitting in the market. And I think it was yesterday, I don't know if it was in this stream or it might have been in the premium live stream, we were talking about how this is literally just a game. This is literally a game of finding where the liquidity is sitting. And as we know, liquidity typically acts as a magnet for price, right? And because we need to go find that money to transact, right? Because if you want price to move, you got to hit that money, right? So the market orders move the price up into the limit orders or stop losses, which is what I'm referring to when I mention liquidity. But we talked about, I think yesterday, finding the hot spots of liquidity on the heat map and understanding that these levels act as a magnet. And guys, you can't make it up. We had the hot spot right here on the liquidity sitting just at 48.3, saying, hey, we have that liquidity sitting here. Are we going to get the move up, sweep that liquidity just above the $48,000 golden pocket before reversing back to the downside? Hot spot of liquidity, magnet in the market, price runs up, sweeps the liquidity, and runs right back down. So with that being said, what did we see? Simply put, we saw the exact setup we like to see, which is simply understanding that that liquidity is sitting between 48.1 and 48.4. Let's mark it out. 48, where is it? 48. Come on. 48.1 to 48. Come on. 48.3. We know we have these. Let me make sure I have that right. 48.1 to 48. 3. I mean, the real hot spot of liquidity really ends at 48.350, and then the whole chunk of liquidity ends at 48.8, which is basically, we ran up to about 49K here on Bybit. But what do you expect when you run up into these liquidation levels, guys? This is where a lot of people are going to get wrecked. Once you hit this level, there is going to likely be a liquidation event, right? Where people are going to get liquidated and stopped out of their trades where they may have been short from up here or even up here or up here or up here, anywhere, shorting anywhere up in this price. Their stop losses and liquidation levels are going to be above. And we can literally see where they're sitting. Come on the liquidation heat map, right? So that's where you expect price to get gravitated up to this level, sweep the liquidity, and then break it back down, right? Now, why does price sweep, right? I hate these like catchy terms, but it is what it is, right? The reason price wicks right back up like that, right? The reason why we didn't just reject those liquidation levels is because when you get stopped out of a short position, it creates a market buy. So once you crack into this level, guys, this is where you expect price to start pushing up very aggressively because all the people getting stopped out above these highs, their stop losses are creating market buys, creating upward pressure on the market, giving you these big wicks to the upside. And then what you look for to enter these short trades, I'm just going to give the sauce right now. What you would look for to enter this trade is simply a wick above your key level. If you have a key level of resistance you're looking at, wick above the key level, come back down, close the body of the candle below, and then once that candle confirms, that is where you're looking to enter your trade, right? At least if you're not using order flow, that's what you want to look for, right? So as soon as that candle comes up, and then you don't want to enter here. You want to wait for the next candle to print, which if you're using TradingView, you will somewhat be limited depending. You want to go down to a lower time frame to find a better entry. I'm not going to go into my whole strategy on how to enter these trades just because I have a tutorial on the channel, how to trade SFPs. You guys could check it out. If one of the mods can drop that video, that'd be super helpful to everybody, I bet, as well. But I show you guys exactly how to catch better entries on these SFPs on the channel. But simply put, if you were just trading it on the 1 hour, you would wait for the next candle to print, and then this would be your entry, right? So simply put, you would go ahead and enter on the confirmation of the next candle. And, you know, bar replay mode's a little bit different, right? Because it doesn't play the whole candle. So wherever that candle is when you print, when it prints, as soon as this candle prints, essentially, is when you want to enter, right? And then your stop loss would go right above the wick of the swing failure candle. And then you would simply be targeting the levels below. For me, you know, naturally, I'll just spit the sauce real quick. Right, naturally, I'd probably be looking at the volume profile below, so I would be targeting the value area high sitting here at $47,000, and I would probably be taking some profit here, moving my stop loss to my entry point, making it a guaranteed winning trade, and then I would simply hope to get sucked back into the volume profile and get a move back to the downside. And simply put, boom, you get the big drop down, right? And then I don't think we actually made it right. Yeah, we didn't make it all the way to the value area low, but obviously, most of the time, we do front run these levels in case that happens, right? But simply put, this is not an SFP video, but that's simply how we look for these trades, right? And really what I wanted to show you guys is the power of the heat maps, right? Because I believe yesterday we were literally looking at this level saying, hey, if we magnetize up here, could see that SFP to potentially get that reversal to the downside. So that's what we're looking at on Bitcoin, guys. That's what we saw this morning. And now why is this a little bit worrying to me? Not worrying, but the fact that we have swept that liquidity up here makes me think like, hey, once you knock all those shorts out of the market, oftentimes you can see a continued move down. And with that 16-hour and daily bearish divergence looking to print with money flow coming out, there is a possibility to get a bigger move to the downside. And now you guys have the levels of support below as well. So little bit of a mixed bag here, guys. Super bullish news, ETFs, going to the moon, but we can't let the hopium and the bullish sentiment get in our head, right? We have to read the charts for the information that they're giving us, keep a level head, and trade the charts in front of us, not listen to the noise online or the noise in the media or the noise on Twitter or the noise of the people in the comments, whoever it is. You want to just stick to the charts, right? Because the charts they're going to lie to you, right? They're going to lie to you sometimes, but oftentimes they do play out more than they don't if you know what you're doing. So there you go, guys. That's what we're looking at on Bitcoin. Definitely want to be a little bit careful. But again, it's an if this, then that statement. So if we get a push up, next levels of resistance are the ones we went over. If we come down, you guys now know those key levels of support I'm looking at to potentially enter along. And not only that, you know why we were looking at this level and why we were expecting a rejection and what we were looking at for that rejection, having a lot to do with the liquidity. And now you know why we got that move to the downside. And you can see how fast these SFPs work out, right? Typically, there's barely any drawdown on these trades. You enter them, and it's just insta-dump or insta-pump, depending on if you're looking for longs or shorts. So, guys, that's the sauce on Bitcoin. That's what we're looking at. We got 1,166 people in here. I appreciate every single one of you guys from the bottom of my heart for tuning in and hanging out with us here on the Frankie Candles YouTube channel. So go ahead and smash that like button if you have not already. 1,000 likes on today's video or today's live stream. We'll spin the wheel 20 times, and I'll give away a Frankie Candles hat to one lucky CandleMafia member. Let's get it. And let's jump into chat, guys. I think if you guys want to take a look at, if you guys want to spam some altcoins in the chat, we're going to start taking a look at those right now, starting with Ethereum. And Rob, let's do like 3 requests, and we'll take a look at Ethereum. I want to spend a little time on Ethereum, guys, because I know that everybody's talking about the Ethereum ETF. It's a rumor, right? Or I actually think there's legitimacy to it, but it doesn't mean that we're going to actually get it, right? So I know that's kind of the bullish sentiment going on right now. People are in anticipation of a potential ETH ETF after the BTC ETFs got approved, and it's starting to show on the price. So can we see Ethereum get a big bullish move in 2024? We're going to talk about it briefly on the live stream, but I just recorded a video before the live stream that we're going to be dropping probably tomorrow morning, talking about, and it's going to be basically be an Ethereum deep dive, talking about the possibility of getting a big move up on ETH, some of the top bullish signals, and most importantly, what most people want, those bullish price targets. So we're going to be talking about that in that video. So stick around, or don't stick around, but keep an eye out for that getting uploaded very, very soon, probably tomorrow. And then shout out to Ian. Thank you for the super chat, bro. I appreciate you so much. He says, "Yo, Don Frankie, kindly make a YouTube short of this entry taking lesson. Finally, I get it. Bingy bongy." Shout out to Ian at Tony D. Let's clip that. Let's try to clip that and make it like a minute and see if we can help the people out watching those YouTube shorts. Shout out to Ian. I appreciate that super chat, bro. And I shout out to Anna Maria. Thank you for the super tip. What would that be considered? I don't even know what that is considered, but thank you so much. I appreciate it. What's your targets for Ethereum? Skyways. Well, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into Ethereum while you guys are spamming those altcoins. See a lot of XRP. We're going to be taking a look at XRP as well. Ethereum Classic, we could try to take a look at that as well. I know that's getting some moves. A lot of altcoins getting a move. So let's go ahead and take a look at Ethereum, or Erythrium, as your grandmother might call it. But first, I'm going to take a sip of the Aztecian Cactus Moss Water. Let's see. Chemistry Bro said 30K for ETH is crazy. Crazy bullish scenario, but more likely 10. Yeah. Shout out to Chemistry Bro. I would probably be looking probably closer to that $10,000 mark. But remember, anything can happen. You never know, right? A lot of people thought a lot of things about a lot of stuff, and then it wound up either exceeding their expectations or not. But I actually don't hate that prediction, bro. I think 10K is definitely a realistic target to be looking at, and I know that a lot of people coming in as this bull market continues to approach. A lot of people are going to come in and be like, "That's too low. That's only a 2x, a 3x, a 4x. That's only this much up, right?" And these are the people. The reason these people are likely to get wrecked, unless they're in the Candle Mafia, I will help protect them. But a lot, it's the same thing with Cardano. Like Cardano last cycle, I don't understand why people were so mad at Cardano last cycle. Like, I simply do not understand. People were saying that ADA was like the underperformer of the bull market of 2021, and I'm just sitting here like, what do you mean? How is that even a thought, right? People were saying like, "Oh, I bought Cardano and it just never moved." I bought it and I only made like 0.5x. I'm like, well, dude, you were buying the top of the bull market. You should have been buying down here. Like, when everybody else is scared to buy. I said this the other day. I keep getting I get hit up, right, by a lot of people. Particularly, like, right now, I get text messages from people I have not talked to in a long time who know I do this for a living, and they're like, "Oh, what should I buy?" And I'm just like, anything you buy right now is a pretty dangerous bet, right? Oh, should I buy Bitcoin right now? I'm like, we just went on a monumental bear market rally. Probably, like, where were you when I was screaming for everybody to buy Bitcoin between $20,000 and $15,000? Everybody was like, oh no, I heard Bitcoin's gonna die. I heard that was the last cycle. It's never going up again. And I'm like, they say that every time. And I really try to help people. But, you know, everybody just wants to buy when it goes up. And people said that about Cardano. I was looking at Cardano at 12 cents was when I first started looking at Cardano. Unfortunately, it was just not one that I had already invested in a bunch of stuff. So actually, a lot of people that I told about Cardano made a lot more money than I did on Cardano because they went heavier into it. But looking at Cardano at 12 cents and hearing people say that was the underperformer of the bull market was wild to me. Absolutely wild. So, you know, sure, if you buy it at $1.36 and then it runs, well, I mean, not even that. If you bought it from here to here, it's still a monument. It's a gigantic move. But, you know, everybody wants to buy the hype and sell the fear, which is literally the opposite of what you want to do. So just be careful out there, guys, going into the next bull market. But as we look at Ethereum here, guys, very, 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 very interesting stuff. Now, as you guys know, we've been looking at Ethereum for quite some time on the channel, looking for a potential move up to our next key level, which was sitting at $2,500, where we had not only a high volume node, but also the value area low of our previous range, sitting right here from back between about February and May of 2022. Now, this is very, very, very exciting, guys. Now, again, I'm not going to go through everything here, but I do want to talk about why I do potentially think that Ethereum could get a significant move up in 2024. Well, number one, first and foremost, we have this now, the ETF narrative, right? So this is hype for people to buy into, right? Because remember, back on Bitcoin, right? Taking a look at, where is it? Let's just pull up Bitcoin real quick. Looking at Bitcoin, very similar levels, right? Obviously, right? Because the price action, just the structure of the price action is very similar. You have your macro bull market range, and then and then you also have your local range, right? Right about here. And let me actually just go ahead and let me hide that, right? So you have your local range from the, your first massive drop in the bear market, consolidation, come back to Ethereum. First big drop in the bear market, area of consolidation. These are the same areas, right? Between, basically February and May of 2022. Now, what happened when Bitcoin approached that range, guys? Simply put, we were banging our head on that value area low, which we call the doorway to higher prices, expecting price to flip that level to support and then fill the entire range to the upside, hitting the value area high. And what happened? We broke above it, flipped it to support, and filled the whole range. Could we see the same thing happen with Ethereum? I think it's possible, right? The volume profiles have been slapping lately, guys. Not only were we able to predict Bitcoin with that small range and the macro range, we also called Solana at $80, tapping on that doorway to higher prices, expecting a $100 Solana. Boom. I think it was like a day later, we filled the whole range. And this has everything to do with the volume profiles, guys. They're extremely reliable. Now, it does not guarantee that we're going to fill the range. However, there's a few things here, right? Number one, now, again, this is medium-term analysis, right? I would call this medium-term analysis. I'm not expecting Ethereum to rip up to $3,100 by tomorrow, but as long as we remain above this value area low, guys, this is going to open up the door to potentially fill this range up to that $3,000 level, right? And the POC is coming in closer to about 3,100, and then the value area high is closer to 3,200. And then obviously $3,000 is going to be another level to look at as well. And we do have some other levels within this range, which we look a little bit more deep into in the Ethereum update video, which again, I'll be dropping probably tomorrow. But or if we could finish it in time for tonight, I'll try to drop it late night. If not, I will drop it tomorrow. But turn on notifications so you don't miss that, guys, because we're going to be talking about even more bullish targets than that. But these are kind of the next, this is what I'm expecting out of Ethereum. Now, even if we lose this value area low temporarily, we could potentially dip below it and kind of play around with this level before finally flipping it to support. Again, reference Bitcoin, right? We tapped our head, broke above it, back below. Broke above it, back below. Tap, tap. Then we finally flipped it to support and filled the range. Now, again, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to fill as quick as Bitcoin did. But we could definitely see something similar happen as long as we can maintain support above that value area low. Very, very, very similar. And just to really hammer this point home, guys, let's take a look at Solana real quick. Bear with me while I try to... Here you go, right? Right here. Same exact deal. Same exact deal. Boom. Tap your head. Tap your head. Oh, guys, this is the doorway to higher prices. This is the doorway to higher prices. If we get above this, flip it to support, we could fill the whole range up to about $107. Made a video as we made a video literally on this candle. As we started peeking through, we made a Solana update saying, hey, if we flip this level to support, we could fill the whole range. Simply put, we hopped up, flipped it to support, POC, and boom, to the value area high and beyond, right? And then actually, we've actually wound up kind of settling, getting one last rip to the upside, and then we kind of settled around that $100 area. So all the same theory, right? Hopefully this makes sense to a lot of you guys, and you can use this to your advantage, not only on the coins we look at, but coins that you look at yourself, right? So that's what we're looking at on Ethereum, and this is why I am very, very bullish right now. And again, this is medium term. It doesn't mean that we can't dump, right? So, if we get off the live stream, right? Because remember, we are also potentially going to see some bearish signals here locally, right? Daily, higher highs, lower highs, money flow coming out, right? This could potentially make us higher highs on the price action into a key level. We are kind of above it, which is kind of a little bit of a caveat, but lower highs on your momentum wave, and then you have your money flow coming to the downside, right? So we could potentially see some kind of a cool off here, very similar to what we saw on ICP, right? As we approach the, let me pull it up. As we approached this value area low, very similarly, right? You can expect some kind of resistance here, but eventually, once you flip that level to support, that's where you expect to come into the range, right? So Ethereum just doing what we wanted to and continuing to just follow along our roadmap. And again, other than that, guys, locally could get some turbulence. But if we do wind up pulling back, what I would like to see, if we pull this range here, what I will do is let's go ahead and pull some. Let me pull some fibs here. I know this is probably, I'm going to move it. So that would definitely be a level to look at. But let me pull. Yeah. So some levels if we do pull back. Now, you know what? I don't even know if I'd look this low. Really what I would like to look at. Let me pull. Whoops. What I would look at here, guys, is, what is this? 2,400. Yeah, about $2,400. This is going to be a level to watch. Golden pocket value area high 786 confluence. Sitting right about there. On top of that, between $2,500 and $2,550 is going to be another level to watch, right? Because simply put, it's your value area low, right? Now, this was a key level of resistance on the way up, right? So between 2,500 psychological level and your value area low. So, even if we do pull back a little bit here, I will look. Let me come down to a lower time frame, right? So we pull back, may kind of interact with this level a little bit. But this is not going to really be bearish, in my opinion. Even if we break down lower, I would be looking between $24 and $23.25. Yeah, about $2,325 to see a potential bounce back to the upside. So there you go. So even if we lose it temporarily, not really getting too worried. I wouldn't be surprised if we got a little bit of a pullback. And I am on long watch on Ethereum, guys. So if we get that pullback, I will be looking at some key levels to potentially be looking for a bounce back into the range and then see that range potentially and eventually fill over time up to that $3,000 level. I think it's in the cards for 2024. But let's go ahead. That's what we're looking at on Ethereum. INJ, yeah, we could go ahead and we could try to take a look at the we could try to take a look at INJ, no problem. Yo, shout out to D Petty Crypto said, say pull your fib with an Austin Powers accent. Pull your I can't do an Austin. I don't think I do an Austin Powers accent. It wasn't I've seen Austin Powers many times, but it was never really an Austin Powers guy. Pull your fib, baby. Shout out to D Petty, bro. Let's see. What's going on, Pizza Mike? What's going on, brother? Mikey. But guys, let's go ahead and continue on. We got 1,200 people in the chat. Smash that like button if you guys want some free crypto free Frankie Candles hats. If we hit 1,000 likes, maybe, just maybe, we'll give away a free membership to the premium Discord. We'll add that for 1,000 likes. Shout out to all 1,190 of you guys sitting in here right now. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Pull your fib, baby. Yeah. Shout out to Daddy's home. Oh, God, Daddy's home. It's the perfect person to say that. But, guys, let's go ahead and continue on. Did we get ETH new all-time high in 2024? Shout out to Chemistry, bro. Hey, listen, not impossible. Definitely not impossible. Let's see, $5 grand, $4,900. Well, you'll see. If you guys watch that Ethereum update video, we do talk about some higher targets. Not new all-time highs, but we do talk about targets over $3,000. Shout out to Chemistry, bro. Let's see. Thank you, Rob. Shout out to Rob the Crypto Snob. Let's go ahead and pin that message. Let's go ahead and jump into XRP, guys. Let's see. Shout out to the XRP army. Let me see those X's in the chat. Let's get it. Yo, Tyler Durden said 1,000 likes and you get Rob's personal phone number. Let's go. All right, let's continue on. Yo, Retro Mike said 1,200. I can't even count that high. Shout out to Retro Mike. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Savage Trades. Says XR poop. All right, let's continue on here. Taking a look at XRP. All right. Let me just bear with me, guys, while I jump on the bat phone real quick. Okay, let's continue on. So, Ethereum, XRP. Guys, why do I keep calling the coins the wrong name? Here we are, guys. Here we are. Simply put, guys, what did we call for on XRP? Unbelievable. Found the support right on the previous value area high. What is this level right here? I'm getting rid of that. I think it's an accidental line. But, guys, came down to the previous value area high, got the nice little bounce. Actually didn't get too many signals. This would have been a pretty difficult trade to enter, right? Because, honestly, you had a lot of stuff going against you. You had lower lows on your price action into a key level of support, which is really what you want to be looking for a potential bounce. But the problem is, you didn't really have your momentum waves making higher lows, right? You kind of had an exaggerated bull div here where you have equal lows on your momentum waves, which technically is a bullish divergence. Sometimes they can be false signals. Sometimes they play out like a regular divergence. It's kind of a hard call, but definitely a little bit of a sussed out signal here. But we did come down to our key level, got the bounce, remained above, and then where did we get our move up to, guys? Simply put, it's a game of volume profiles, guys. A game of volume profiles. Price ranges 80% of the time, and we know that price likes to hunt out those value areas. So simply put, we knew if we lost this value area, right, as we came into it, lost it, came back in, lost it again, couldn't get back above, we knew if we lost that value area low, we would see a quick move to the downside into that previous value area high. Once we broke that previous value area high, the next logical place to look down for price is going to be that point of control, right? We came down, tapped that POC to almost $1, broke it just a tiny bit, and then got that instant bounce right back up, flipped the value area high to support, where our next key level of resistance was the previous value area low, where not only is this a level of resistance, but also our doorway to higher prices, right? So simply put, as we get up here, we expect some kind of a rejection, but eventually and potentially, when we get back up there and flip it to support, that is when we're off to the races. Now, off to the races might be a little bit exaggerating, but, if we hold this level as support, the next target to the upside would likely be this golden pocket between about 74 and 75 cents. Above that, because here's the thing, right? Not only do you have the value area logic here, but also, on top of that, you also have your Fibonacci levels that are in confluence, right? So when you pull your fib from the high to the low, where's your golden pocket retracement, right? So from the high to the low, you eventually retrace to the golden pocket, and then you come back down. If we continue up, POC 786 is sitting up here at about 83 cents. So if we're able to come up back to this golden pocket, get above it, I will be looking up towards the point of control at 73 cents, or I'm sorry, 83 cents, right? Where the 786 previous point of control. Now, some people might say, well, Frankie, you can't just look at these magic levels on the volume profile and expect price to go there. And to that, I simply say, yes, I can, right? This is exactly what we looked at on this big move up on XRP, looking to hit that POC. Where did we reject? Right from the point of control, right? So looking for something very similar if we get above that value area low, right? Bada boom, bada bing, back up to the POC. You flip the POC, then XRP could really blast off in 2024, potentially coming up to that $1.30 level. Between $1.20 and $1.28, I would more realistically look for. Now, with that being said, coming up to the higher time frames, VWAP on your weekly VWAP rolling back to the upside, potentially primed for a fresh green dot, which may be able to give us that move up. On top of that, taking a look at your 5-day green dot looking to print, 4-day green dot looking to print, 3-day green dot looking to print, and your 2-day green dot is confirmed. On top of that, your daily, let's take a look at the daily. Daily trying to come back into the green here. So this is a little bit sketchy. I don't like when you bing bong around with money flow. It makes it very, very hard to read and oftentimes indicates sideways movement, right? Come down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, and you just basically went sideways, right? What we want is a nice curvature, right? We want nice trending money flow to one side or another. Clearly, we were trending down here. We got the move. This could be a lower high potentially, so you got to be careful. But really right now, we are in no man's land, right? We have a volume gap between this value area low and this value area high, which means when you lose this value area low, quick move down. When you find support on the value area high, quick move up. There's not a lot of volume in here, not a lot of interest, right? So if you pull up the VPVR, you can see we are developing more volume, as you can see. This used to be a complete void. Now we have a little bit of volume. But basically, if we don't break 63 cents, I'm not expecting upside for XRP. If we do not lose 54 cents, I'm not expecting downside. So just simply keeping an eye on the key levels. So there you go for XRP. And let me know, guys, when you watch this Ethereum video, let me know at the end of the video, I ask you guys, hey, let me know what altcoins you want to see next. If you guys like that format of video, I'll start running through the alts for you guys, and we'll start making a ton of these videos. So let me know if you like them. But let's go ahead. Mark Dutch said, I'll request another love song for the Wix tomorrow in the piano bar. Shout out to Mark Dutch, bro. Shout out to Piano Matty B doing the dueling pianos. Super, super cool. We'll have to shout them out tomorrow on the live stream. Get to have our people go show some love. Let's see. Okay. Let's continue on. Next altcoin we're going to be looking at is going to be Ethereum Classic. Guys, look behind you. What is that? Something's behind you. What was that? Did you guys see that? I don't know what that was. I don't know what that was. Shout out to the CandleMafia. But let's continue on and take a look at Ethereum Classic. Woohoo, baby. She's ripping. She's ripping, baby. Look at her go. This is an old chart. I reckon that we were probably looking at this a long time ago. I have no reference to where these levels came from. No reference. This is an old chart. Let's see. We don't really look at Ethereum Classic too much on the channel. Let's see. Yeah, nothing but really old charts. This has a volume profile, which is somewhat relevant, but let's just start fresh here for Ethereum Classic and take a look at what we got going on. Tony D says, breathe air. Shout out to Tony D. Sometimes you got to carry air around in a can with you. Shout out to Tony D. Let's see. Bitcoin dumping. She continuing down? Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Okay, so taking a look at Ethereum Classic here. Let's take a look. Take a look at the daily. Yeah, see, this is what I mean, guys. Just because money flow comes out on the daily does not mean that you are, and even, like, here's the thing, right? Right here, you have the daily bear dip, right? Higher highs on your price action, lower highs on your momentum waves. money flow coming out. You got the move down, right? It doesn't mean that it doesn't come down. You got the move down, but it doesn't always mean short it to zero. But why? You might think to yourself, well, Frankie, I've seen you talk about how this is a massive macro bearish sign. It is in context to the chart, right? It's not like we've, we are up quite a bit here, 116%, right? But this is a bullish market right now. In a bear market, right? Let's look at try to find a bearish divergence here. In the bear market, right? I'm not gonna spend a ton of time trying to find it. Right here, right? Right here, right? Higher highs on your price action, lower highs on your momentum waves. Right? So that bear div, you would take a little bit more seriously, understanding that you were in a bear market, right? So you're expecting a bigger downtrend to continue. So in that case, it would be more of a bet the farm scenario, even though it should never be a bet the farm scenario. I'm using that as a figure of speech. But in a bull market, you should not be treating these bear divs, even on the daily with money flow coming out, as like these massive shorts to zero. But what you can do is definitely take advantage of the likely move to the downside that you will get of some degree, but treat it as a scalp. Lock in your profits, move your stop loss to your entry point, and then if it does wind up giving you a bigger break, right, because with money flow coming out, it could indicate that you're ending the bullish trend, right? If you don't want to, miss the whole move, you could take it as a scalp, lock in your profits, move your stop loss to entry, and then if it breaks down, you have a position from the top. But if you wind up getting a big bounce like this, which is not unlikely because you are in a bullish trend, right? Look at the higher time frames. Money flow just starting to cross over on the 3-day would indicate a trend to continue to the upside. Doesn't mean that you can't take the scalp, but if you get a push to the upside, as you would expect in a bullish trend, you will simply get stopped out of your position and make money, right? You'll get stopped out in profit. So that's kind of, a perfect example of, like, remember, on Bitcoin, you want to be a little bit careful, right? Because if we are at this macro golden pocket, you have that bear div confirmed. Will we get a pullback? In my opinion, it's somewhat likely to get at least a move to the downside, but that doesn't mean that we're guaranteed to go lower, right? Because we're in a bullish trend. You spend more time with money flow being in the green, and you could get faked out and come into another second big green wave, right? As we've shown many times. So although this is definitely a bearish signal, you just want to be careful. Treating the shorts as scalps, at least at this moment. We are approaching strong enough resistance where we can start looking for more swing positions or longer-term, higher capital positions. But as of right now, until I get those signals, I am still treating the shorts as scalps. But continuing on to Ethereum Classic, let's see. Red dot confirmed on your 4-hour. Daily green dot confirmed. Absolute yeet to the upside. Let's get some key levels of resistance in here. Let's pull our macro golden pocket, which we are likely nowhere near. Boom. Okay. I always start there. Let's go to another significant high, which would be right. Whoops. Missed it. Come on. Right there. Bada boom. So we are approaching our macro golden pocket. I will also actually pull a range up here as well. Okay, so key levels, if we continue up. Key level of resistance right here between 3407 and 3261. Those are shorts. And then 786 POC confluence. That would be another level to watch in my opinion. And then clearly your value area high would be another level you want to watch, right? So if we do continue up into these levels, this is, let's see. Let's go ahead and mark that out, right? So you have your value area high, POC. Where's it at? Right there. And your value area low. Bada boom. Bada bing. So these are kind of the next areas I would be looking at, right? As you approach the macro golden pocket, or somewhat macro golden pocket, somewhat local, somewhat macro, I would watch that, right? Now, if you get above this level, flip that value area low to support, very likely to revisit your POC 786, and then once you get above that, very likely to get to your value area high, where I would simply be looking for more shorts based off the volume profiles. And if we have confluence with like a golden pocket or a 786 at that value area high, which we do right here, definitely going to be a key level to look at. So that's what I would be watching on Ethereum Classic. And then if we take a look at the 12-hour, VWAP coming to the downside, kind of hard to read there with that massive move up. Yeah, 4-hour money flow cross back over into the green. I think you could potentially continue up here. And if you do, I would expect to revisit this range. Let me highlight it for you guys to make it a little bit easier. A little bada boom, a little bada bing. Put the little Nucci there. Boom. There we go. So if we continue up, I would expect to maybe get accepted back into this range and respect these levels, right? Value area low coming in at 34.15, POC at 36.90, value area high at 41.75, and simply put, that is what I'd be looking at on ETC. And then real quick, I want to take a look at the weekly. Yeah, I mean, guys, fresh green dot on the weekly, money flow coming up. Remember, right? Even your bear market range, right? Let's see. Even like this bear market range, broke out of the bear market range. Not looking too bad, in my opinion, right? Not looking too bad. Let's see. Yeah, not looking bad, guys, in my opinion, right? Because you're breaking out of your bear market range, which is very bullish. I wouldn't be surprised if you got some kind of a retest there potentially, if you were lucky enough to come back down there. However, money flow looking to cross over into the green. Remember, a lot of these altcoins started getting their moves up when they got a money flow crossover into the green, right? Money flow crossover into the green in March of 2023 for Ethereum. Since then, you have simply seen a move up of about 74% just from the money flow crossover, right? Take a look at some other alts. Money flow crossover here on Phantom, resulting in 112%. Let's see, Near Protocol still has not crossed over into the green just yet, so could be a potential long opportunity there. Polkadot looking for a crossover into the green. If we get pullbacks, could be a long the dip opportunity there, right? Money flow coming up into the green. Big signals, guys. Oftentimes on Bitcoin and the altcoins, the best time to buy these assets is when the money flow on Market Cipher B is in the red. So, as we see here, this would have been literally buying the bottom of the bear market, and if this is the breakout and we are about to come up to higher prices, like, you're going to look back in hindsight and be like, good thing I was buying the bottom, right? And this is why I tell people, don't stress about buying the exact bottom or the, that's why DCAing is a winning strategy. You buy a little on the way down, little here, little there, little here, little there, and you just buy, and then you get an even nice average entry level somewhere at the bottom of the bear market, right? So there are some alts that have not had these money flow crossovers, and they could be primed for moves to the upside. Let's see. Let's see. Shout out to Maria, says we all saw 48K. We all saw 49K for today. We all saw 50K. This time is different. Shout out to Maria. Let's continue on. Let's see. Chemistry Bro cooking. Shout out to Chemistry Bro. All right, let's continue on. Next altcoin we're going to be taking a look at today is going to be Solana, or Solanza, as our boy James Cramer may call it. That's another somewhat of a bullish puzzle piece here, guys, is that Jim Cramer said you can't kill Bitcoin, which would really be a bearish sign. So I don't know. Who knows? But let's continue on. Let's take a look at Solana. So like I said, guys, simply put, like, two next zones on Solana are going to be, next two. Actually, let's come back to the daily. I'm going to have to move those levels again. Come on. There we go. Okay. So looking at Solana, guys, simply put, game of volume profiles, right? You got your range here. You got your range here. So simply put, you hit your head, get accepted, fill the range, break out to the 786, and then you get pulled back into the range. We got accepted, right? Break down below, rejection, deviation, acceptance, back to the POC, back to the high. Could we go back to the POC or value area low? Potentially, but as long as we remain in this range for Solana between about $106.96 and about $80.93, I would expect this range to get respected, right? Now, if we do get a breakout and we come up here, next key level of resistance is going to be this purple box running into about $135, which at that point would be your doorway to higher prices, right? So we come back over here. Let me mark out these actual levels so we can keep an eye on them specifically. You have your value area high, you have your POC, and then you have your value area low, right? So I'm going to label this POC. We're going to label this, label this value area high, and we will label this value area low. So looking here, right? In my opinion, really what you would need to do here is it's really the value area low in this case is not necessarily your doorway to higher prices. It's really your point of control, right? So if you get a move up, looking to hit your head on that value area low, but once you get above that and above the POC, this is where I see the door opening to higher prices for Solana. But until then, I would simply be looking within this range for our key levels. Now, coming out to the daily, money flow, I mean, same thing, right? You don't necessarily have the bearish divergence, but you do have the red dot looking to print with your money flow coming out. So something to be careful for if you do get a move down. Next key level is simply going to be, let me see. Let me pull this fib from here. Actually pull it from here. 786 confluence on the value area low from this impulse. Yeah, so here's your box of resistance, right? Golden pocket, point of control confluence, and you also have your 786 value area low right there. Bada boom. That's what I'd look for. You get a continued move down. If you break the golden pocket, I'd be looking for potential longs at the 786. And until proven differently, I would be treating this as a scalp, right? If we come down here, we find our bullish confirmations, I would simply be looking to ride that long position back up to the high of the range, and then potentially looking for the breakout. But until we, as long as we're within this range, I would be trading this in the context of the actual range. All right, let's see. Let's see. Yeah, that's why we spell it like Solana. Shout out to Wick's wife, Fine89. I don't know what that was in reference to, but shout out to Wick's wife. Let's see. Chemistry Bro says, Frankie Candles, but days after that Kramer did say he thinks that BTC is topping out, so still bullish. Okay, yeah, shout out to Chemistry Bro. Honestly, guys, I think someone needs to throw some respect on Jim Cramer's name. It doesn't matter. Like, here's the thing. He is so consistently wrong that it's almost impressive, right? And I don't mean that as like a joke or a meme. He's almost like he's one of the most accurate analysts, right? Because regardless of what every single time he says it's going up or down, he's always wrong, right? So he could just treat himself as a contrarian trader, right? And then he hits 100%. Right, so he is one of the most accurate, in my opinion, one of the most accurate market analysts. You just have to counter trade him, right? And I don't say that to troll. I really don't. Like, who cares? Like, if you could just erase your ego, like if he, I don't know him personally. I've never met him. But you know, if he had enough of a, if he has small enough of an ego to understand that, like, okay, I kind of am wrong all the time. I'm just going to counter trade myself. He's probably doing that behind the scenes, maybe, right? Or maybe he's being told what to say. But, you know, it is crazy. I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, maybe he's not the one making the predictions. But, you know, I mean, someone who is wrong 100% of the time, if you could just remove the ego and just counter trade, like, he's really one of the most accurate market signal givers, right? Or whatever you want to call him. But there you go. Let's see. Yeah, shout out to Blunt. Yeah, like use him as a signal, right? Like, put some respect on that guy's name. I don't like that. Like, I mean, you know, the internet is so mean, man. Like, the guy's got like a family and stuff, and people just like roast him. But I mean, hey, like, if I were him, I'd be eating this up. I'd be like, guys, I think this is topping out so long. I would just counter trade myself, right? I like killed my ego a long time ago. So, you know, I would just tell people, like, if you guys want to make money, like, I think it's going down, so just long. And I would live, and then people would be like, oh my God, this guy's a genius. He was wrong, but he told us to do the opposite, and I made money. Shout out James Cramer. Cramer indicator, yeah. I mean, honestly, just make a bot that counter trades Jim Cramer, and you might have one of the very few, you know, profitable trading bots. All right, let's continue on. We got, let's see, French Toaster in the chat. What is going on, bro? Oh, today he said BTC is now legit and people should own some. I don't know. My honest guess, guys, is like he's probably not pulling all the strings. He's probably got like someone telling him stuff. But let's see. Yeah, it really is crazy. Okay, let's continue on here. All right, so that was Solana. That was our last altcoin, but I do see a call for ARB. Shout out to 12 Big. Good to see you in here, bro. Hope you're having a good day. Let's go ahead and continue on. It is funny. I feel like I'm on one today. It is funny. So many people say, I wish I had Frankie's energy. And I'm like, you should see me after the stream, guys. I literally end my stream and then like sit like this and just like drool. Like I all of my energy is given into this, into the content and into the live streams. But yeah, it's funny. I saw someone in chat last night in the waiting room after we ended the live. They were like, "Man, I would kill to have Frankie's endless energy." And I'm a pretty high energy person. I'm a positive person. But you know, it's it's funny because if you guys saw me while I'm reading these comments, I'm like brain dead. It's pretty funny. Mrs. Candles is like trying to talk to me, and her words are just bouncing off my head. Mrs. Candles is a saint. But let's continue on here for Arbitrum, guys. We actually have we took a look at Arbitrum not too long ago. I don't know if this is the chart. Bear with me here. Probably should just save all of these so we know exactly what we're looking at. All right, we'll just do some. I'm trying to find the most price history. I think MEXC had. Oh no, I guess it's KuCoin. KuCoin's got the yeah, KuCoin. Oh god, the one that got away. KuCoin. Those DCA bots. KYC killed us. Shout out to KuCoin. I miss you guys. Anyway, let's go ahead and continue on and take a look here. Let's go down a lower time frame. Yeah. All right. So clearly, we filled this whole range. Got a little resistance at the golden pocket value area high. But we have now since broken out and left that range. So let's go ahead and do some fresh analysis here on Arbitrum. Let's continue on. Okay. So daily putting in a bit of a bearish divergence here. Now, again, we are being careful with the bearish signals right now, guys. So please keep that in mind. Okay, I'm going to read this because if anybody knows, I am in search of a DCA bot that was as intuitive and customizable as KuCoin's trading bots, specifically the DCA bots. Losing access to those was the most traumatic thing that's ever happened to me in my trading career, guys. The fact that I have to think about what coins I want to buy every single day or every single week haunts me. And I used to just be able to set up those custom bots, and they would just buy for me, and I'd be like, anytime I feel like, oh, my God, I haven't bought in a long time and everything's pumping, I'd open KuCoin and be like, thank you, KuCoin, for buying for me because I have too much stuff going on. Shout out to KuCoin. But he says... Oh, hold on. Shout out to James. Shout out to James M. Says, CryptoFace says you can still use something to... Interesting. Shout out to James. If I could get back on KuCoin, I would love that. I would love that. But someone also said L Bank is a great alternative to the old KuCoin. Yeah, specifically, I'll be honest with you. There's plenty of places to get altcoins at this point. I used to love KuCoin because the selection of altcoins that they had. But now, really now there's a lot of places to get really good altcoin or a good selection of altcoins, but like really good altcoins. But really what I really was enjoying there was those DCA bots. They really just saved me so much time. One of the most useful things ever. Crazy. But let's continue on here. So we got to be careful of this potential bearish divergence printing on, right? Now, granted, this is no red dot. Money flow's kind of flat. It's not the most bearish looking thing I've ever seen, right? But 16-hour money flow kind of wonked out. Red dot looking to print. Let's check the 5-hour. 2-hour. Green dot. Kind of hard to call Arbitrum right now. I'm not going to lie. VWAP coming down on the 5-day. Let's check the weekly. VWAP coming down. 3-day green dot printing. Wow, this thing's kind of all over the place if I'm being honest with you. Probably wouldn't be looking to trade this short term. Yeah, this is kind of wonked out. I'll be honest with you guys. Money flow, very non-directional. Like, this is like barely coming out. 10-hour bear div, 16-hour bear div. If we were going to get a cool off, simply put, before we look at the levels, again, what I would like to see here is money coming out, right? Typically, when you get these bear divs, right, with your higher highs. Now, for anybody who's new to the channel, when we look at these bearish divergences, the reason we look at these is because when you have price coming up and momentum leaving and money leaving the asset, in your head, that shouldn't make sense, right? Price is going up, but momentum and money flow and money is leaving the asset. Why are we continuing up? This is oftentimes what creates those corrections to the downside. This is why they are so reliable, right? Like, you can almost go back. Like, I highly recommend, if you do not know what a bearish divergence is, I know everybody who watches my channel, you guys know, but if you're new here and you do not know, simply go back and test these bearish divergences, right? Like, almost every single time, it will give you at least some kind of a move to the downside, right? So you can see higher highs on your price action, lower highs on your momentum waves, then you get a pull to the downside. Higher highs, lower highs, move to the downside, right? So chances are, higher highs, lower highs, red dot, once that red dot prints and confirms, you could potentially see a move to the downside. However, with this bull, we have to keep in mind that we are in a bullish trend, right? And we have to be conservative with the shorts right now. Like, look at your 2-day money flow. It's consistently looking like it's coming in and becoming thicker, right? And we love thick on this channel. But you could see, yeah, I would be careful here for a potential pullback. I don't know how extreme it would be, but you are printing the divergence on your 10-hour. Let's see, 8-hour red dot printing. Let's check that 24-minute and 30-minute money flow. So I don't hate that for a short, potentially, right? Not a trade signal. But if your money flow is coming out on your 30-minute at the same time as that red dot printing on your 8-hour, which still has 7 hours and 45 minutes to print, could potentially catch a little bit of a short on Arbitrum, right? Like, not necessarily looking for it to go to zero, but maybe we go for a golden pocket retest. Potentially. Let's come to the 4-hour. Yeah, potential retest of that golden pocket 786. I actually think if we can get a value area high in confluence with that, which we can right here, that is the level, right? Simply put, keeping it simple, keeping it simple. So I would be looking down. If you do get that correction based off the bearish signals we just went over, I would look for a pull into this golden pocket 786. This would be the first area I'd be willing to look for scalp longs. And then if we break below, things go more bearish, I'd simply look to come to the POC, potentially down to the value area low, where this could be another place to potentially look for a long. I don't know why I said potentially, but there you go. Yeah, and you do have a little bit of a golden pocket confluence on that value area low as well. All right, so maybe you deviate slightly. Boom, back to the upside. Potentially and eventually. But there you go. Let me go ahead and label out these levels for you guys so you can have the numerical values. Bada boom. POC, value area high. So your value area high coming in at about $2.03. $1.70 is your value area low. And then your POC is simply sitting at $1.92. That is what we are talking about. So that is kind of the range that I would be looking at. Let me go ahead and highlight this range like this so we can kind of see that is your area of value. So simply put, we'd expect this to behave like a volume profile. Potential bounce off the value area high, can't get back above, go to the POC, potentially the value area low, and then this is where I'd be willing to look for longs. Now, you have to understand, I am looking, now these are basic, right? These are basic trade ideas, right? These are not actual trade setups, right? There is more that you need to look for. When I am actually looking for trades, I am looking at more confluence than just a golden pocket value area low. Now, doesn't mean that you can't play off of this, right? Like, it doesn't mean that if we come down here and you get bullish signals, you can't look for a long, but understand that if I were actually trading Arbitrum, taking it seriously, right? Like, I can't trade every single altcoin that we look at on the channel. Obviously, it would be too hectic. But if I were actually going to sit down here and I just want people to understand that there needs to be more analysis that goes into your TA for you to actually take sound trades, right? Now, what I would be doing here, if I was actually trading Arbitrum on my actual accounts, what I would be doing here is going to the higher time frames, right? I'd be going to the higher time frames, marking out key daily levels, key weekly levels, key monthly levels, right? Granted, Arbitrum doesn't have that much price action for the monthly, key daily levels, And then I would also be looking at important Fibonacci levels. I would be looking at macro volume profiles. I would also be looking at order flow if I could find it on exo charts. So there is much, there's when I take my trades, there is a lot more that has to go in, right? Like I can't just, a lot of times, like when I do this TA, I want to be very clear, right? Like I would be spending much more time than I spend on these altcoins if I were actually taking the trade. So, there is some work to be done other than this TA that we do on the show. And again, not that you can't make, not that if I were to trade the idea that I just said, I could still do it with just that TA. But you have to understand that there's other very key, naked points of control. There's much, much more that goes into it to get in and out of these trades. It's not as simple as finding, key support. It's not, it's not just as easy as being like, okay, well, we got a golden pocket here, and this is good confluence, right? It's golden pocket, value area low. And again, if we come down here, it's going to be likely you get some kind of a bounce. But really, to put a lot of money on the line, I would want to be seeing where the points of control are. I would want to be seeing those weekly levels, those daily levels, etc. So just keep that in mind. But let's see. Shout out to Creighton C. Said we had confirmed bear divs on Bitcoin today at the 1, 2, 3, and 4 hour time frames. We managed to pull back to having a green day. 15-minute money flow stepped on them, which it shouldn't be able to do. Shout out to Creighton C. A 15-minute money flow does sometimes slap. Not gonna lie. Shout out to Creighton C. Bro, I see you dropping sauce in chat, bro. I see you. Doesn't go unnoticed, bro. I see you. Let's see. Theta. Okay, yeah, we could try to take a look at Theta. Okay, let's see. Yeah, and then Wick says Creighton, yeah, and also price action just intuitively felt weird. Today was a weird day. I think the SEC hack tweet really throttled a lot of people's frenzies. Did they do it on purpose? Is another question. But let's go ahead and take a quick look at Theta, guys. How long have we been going for? We're probably going to have to start spinning that wheel pretty soon. Yeah, we're going to get to spinning that wheel because I want to try to get that Ethereum update video out as soon as possible. If I can't do it tonight, we want to drop it in the morning. So I want to try to get that done for you guys. And again, guys, now that this ETF is approved, if you have not watched that ETF video that we put up, I believe it was yesterday, talking about, what comes next. ETF approved. What comes next? We look at the full bearish case and the full bullish case to better prepare you guys for whether we get the sell the news event eventually to come in or if we're going to rip up to higher prices. We go over everything as well as some of the banks, some multinational banks' price targets to the upside. We investigate if they're likely. And I'll just say this. Some of them are pretty high, and there is some technical confluence on the charts. So very interesting video. Definitely check that out if you guys have not watched it yet. I know everybody's thinking like, what's going to happen? Go watch that video. I go much more in depth than I do on the live streams. So definitely check that out. But taking a look at Theta, let's take a look at let's take a look at the Bybit chart. Okay, so here we are. Just trying to get that price history, guys. Just trying to get that price history. Let's see. Yeah, shout out to Crypto Pollo. Maybe I'll do that. I'll do that in a second. I'm going to walk you guys through this indicator real quick. And we will likely make more content around it. But I will break down some of the stuff and kind of how I have it set up for you guys. Shout out to French Toaster said, I watched it. Sauce, baby. Shout out to you, bro. But yeah, so for Theta, guys, I'm going to go quick and dirty on here. Again, looking very similar to Bitcoin. Money flow coming to the downside. Green dot confirmed. 16-hour. Yeah, 16-hour. Money flow kind of coming back up. Money flow coming back up on your 8-hour as well. 5-hour money flow actually looks not too bad. Yeah, this kind of looks like a mess if I'm being honest with you guys. Yeah, this is... all time frames not really giving much confluence. 1-hour green dot. Yeah, there's just zero confluence whatsoever on any of this. Yeah, money flow on the 12-minute coming to the downside. 4-hour V, we have red dot confirmed. Yeah, I do not really see a lot of confluence here if I'm being quite honest with you guys. But what I can do is give you the levels. right? Now, again, just in general, money flow on the daily looks pretty bearish in my opinion, right? So, and on top of that, you do have this massive wick below, and you guys know sometimes where it wicks, it goes, right? Now, if you are coming down to some, or coming up to some significant retracement levels, I would have liked to come up to that golden pocket 786 retracement to get that full, some of these higher prices to get that full retracement. However, yeah, could reject that 786. Daily VWAP rolling over. Yeah, I would probably be more favorable on a scalp short on Theta. Remember, scalp meaning short term, right? So it might even just be a little pullback like that before you continue up. But again, daily not looking the best. Honestly, the indicators are kind of all over the place right now. So let me go ahead and pull some levels here. Let's pull the not all time, but the bear market fib here. And yeah, okay, so you did, and now not necessarily the full bear market fib, but yeah, you are hitting significant 786 resistance here. Rejected it hard. I would be very cautious of filling this wick. I really would. So that would bring you right back down to that 786, if we're being quite frank, right? So local rejection here, a little bit more bearish in my opinion, unless that 1 hour green dot is going to bring you up to the full 786 golden pocket retracement from the high here. However, really, I would potentially be careful of a move down to the golden pocket and then the 786. But let's pull a range here really quickly. This is a wonked out volume profile. Yeah, it doesn't look good. The volume profile, that is, not Theta. But come on, let me delete this. What is going on right now? I feel like I've never had TradingView glitch in my life, but over the past month, I've had more TradingView glitches than I've ever had in my life. But yeah, that is, these are some key levels I would be looking at, right? Golden pocket sitting at about 80, from between 90 and 87 cents. 786 coming in at 74 cents. So if you do get a breakdown, I most likely wouldn't be interested in longs, really any significant longs until we came back down a little bit lower, especially with the money flow on the daily, if that isn't going to fake us out, right? Obviously, assuming it doesn't fake us out. Yeah, and then you do have your macro POC value area low confluence here. Right there, right? So could potentially, and then another thing to realize here, let me pull this all the way back. Yeah, this is interesting. This is kind of wonked out, if I'm being honest. But maybe you get a move back down to this value area low. I'd be interested in longs there. I just don't know if you're going to be lucky enough to get down there. Kind of hard to read. I haven't been this lost for words on a chart in a long time. But this is what I'd look at. Value area high, $1.11. POC 786 value area low zone is going to be the next place I'd be looking for a potential, bigger long. Obviously, local longs to be had in here, but I would let this thing play out. I wouldn't really be looking for a trade on this right now. It's just too wonked out. Not clear enough signals in my opinion. All right, let's see. Let's see. Shout out to Flat Smack. Savage Trade said Flat Smack passing the wind. Yo, shout out to Flat Smack, bro. You guys are hilarious, dude. And I think Flat Smack. I think this is. Let me go ahead and pin that message. Guys, Flat Smack's pinned comment. I believe that is pronounced. I think that is pronounced like that. But anyway, guys, with all that being said, I think that is all the time I got for today. Crypto Pollo said, "Hey, wait. Did we go over Matic?" Crypto Pollo, we did not, but I bet if you stick around for the Frankie fakeout, maybe, just maybe, we will take a look at Matic. But real quick, before I let you, actually, stick around for the Frankie fakeout, guys. If you're interested in checking out that Frankie Candles Essential right here, hang on. Guys, this is like super cool, right? Just type in Frankie into TradingView, and you will see Frankie Candles Essentials by Lux Algo. This is my new indicator or my new custom volume profile that was created in in collaboration with Luxalgo, and it is a fixed range volume profile with some extra saucy features to help you guys out in doing your TA and just to kind of speed up the analysis for you guys. So you're not, if you're new to the volume profiles, it'll help you understand what we actually look for, and it could also give you some confirmation signals letting you know when certain parameters have been hit to confirm a potential long or short position. Not a signal, but a confirmation. So with all that being said, guys, stick around for the Frankie fake out. We're going to go ahead and spin the wheel of pain and pleasure right now, and then if whoever sticks around for that Frankie fake out, we will go over that indicator just real quick. We'll do like a little 5-minute rundown here. But let's spin that wheel. How many likes did we get? 500. 600 likes. Smash up that like button, guys. Going for 850 likes to spin that wheel 20 times. Okay, I don't know who this woman is or that guy. Let's get out of here. Today's episode is brought to you by whatever this is. Why do I feel like this is adult diapers? What is this? Can somebody look this up? Why does this look like adult diapers? Keeps you drier. That sounds like adult diapers, guys. I swear I don't wear diapers. Shout out to the CandleMafia. All right, let's continue on here. I don't know how many spins we have. I think we have 10 spins. Shout out to Nikki94 Boo said, Frankie is the man, given all the alpha. Bing bong. Shout out to Nikki. Shout out to you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Here we go. Wheel of Scams. Shout out to Crimson's girlfriend. Tyler Durden said, Frankie Dreamer asks, hi, Frankie, in the most lame way possible. Shout out to Dreamer. What's the role of VWAP and how important is it? How important is it for Confluence? Shout out to Tyler Durden for bringing that up, and shout out to Dreamer for asking that question. Number one, that is not a lame question. That is a really good question, and the questions that people who become profitable traders ask. So feel good about asking that question because that's how you become a profitable trader. You have to ask questions, right? I'm not going to be able to answer it if you don't ask, so never think that was a lame question. Let's see if I can break this down while we're spinning the wheels, right? So the VWAP, volume weighted average price, do I have a video on VWAP? I think I have a video on VWAP on the channel. You can look for it on the channel. But it could be very important for Confluence. Right now, I use VWAP oftentimes. I use it a lot on Exo charts and TradingView as well. But this is... You can only look at so many things, right? So, don't feel like if you're not looking at VWAP, like you're never going to get into good trades or anything like that. I do use it, but it could be very, very, very important for support and resistance. But again, like I don't want anyone thinking like, some people might think out there, oh, you don't use moving averages. How are you going to know, if we're going to bounce at this level? Chances are, with TA and indicators, guys, oftentimes, right, like obviously there's different types of information, right? Like a VWAP is not exactly the same as a moving average. A moving average is not the exact same as a fib. But there is, I am a big fan of keeping things simple, right? So for me, I would use VWAP for Confluence for many things. It really just depends on the trade setup, right? So kind of what I would do is like I might pull a volume profile, pull some fibs, find the key levels, look at the dailies, look at the weeklies, look at the naked points of control, and then I might check out either the VWAP or I might even look at anchored VWAPs, which is simply put, here we are back on the charts. But if you take a look at anchored VWAP, they also have anchored volume profiles, but anchored VWAPs are cool. You could kind of just pick a point, right? So like let's say you wanted to pull excuse me. So let's say you wanted to pull a VWAP from this high here. Did I not select it? Bear with me. Oh, this is the auto VWAP. It automatically populates. Hang on one sec. Where is it? Well, I'm not gonna spend all the time looking for it right now, but maybe we can. Maybe I could go over this on tomorrow's live stream. But basically, the anchored VWAP lets you select a point on the chart to pull a VWAP, right? And then it will basically works kind of as a dynamic level of support and resistance. So if I were looking for a long here, right? And so for example, let's say I was looking for a long here, and you're looking at the anchored VWAP from this low down here, and the anchored VWAP is coming up, and it flows right through that level of support, and then price comes back down. I'm already looking for a long here between the 786 value area low and the VWAP being there as well would just add extra confluence. But if you're looking at something else for extra confluence, that's okay too, right? Like you don't always have to look at the VWAP. It kind of seems like you might be trying to deciding if you should use it or not, but it just really all depends on what you look at. So this is how I would use the VWAP personally, or I would just look at the actual VWAP. And there's just many ways to use it, right? It's basically, though, just a dynamic support and resistance level, right? Meaning a support and resistance level that just moves up and down. It's basically like a moving average, right? Very similar. So there you go. All right, let's continue spinning the wheel. Hopefully that helps you out, Dreamer. And again, I want to reiterate, that was not a lame question. That was a good question. Let's see. Shout out to Straightway Life. Says you and Jason Casper have the best analysis on YouTube. Shout out to you, bro. I appreciate you saying that. Shout out to Jason too. It's an honor to be mentioned with him for sure. One of the people I respect the most in the space. He said, "Well done, bro. You really break things down." Really break things down well and make things clear and plain for us. You give us ammunition to be successful traders. Shout out to Straightway Life. I appreciate you, bro. Thank you for saying that. It means a lot. Probably more than you actually think. It really does mean a lot. Appreciate you. We try very hard. Like I try as hard. I've never tried harder at anything in my life, but to make this channel successful and help you, more importantly, become profitable traders. So it really does mean a lot to hear that coming from the community. So for real, man, shout out to you. Makes sense. Thanks. Thanks for the time, Frankie. Thanks, Tyler. Shout out to Dreamer. No problem, bro. Happy to help you out. But here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 out of 11. Not the best hit rate there. But shout out to the CandleMafia. Let's add those to the giveaways. And with all that being said, I think that's all the time we got for tonight's live stream, guys. I will see you tomorrow, same place, same time. Watch out for Bitcoin. Are we going to see the pump? Are we going to see the dump? It's actually dumping right now. Not going to lie. Oh, baby. All right, it's coming down a little bit, but be careful, guys. Don't FOMO, and let's see if we see this ETF turn into a sell the news event, which I feel like it kind of already did turn into, but you never know. You might get that random pump to the upside, so be careful out there, especially with this wonky price action, and keep an eye out for that Ethereum update, and if you have not already, go check out that ETF video. What's next? Find out in that video. And with all that being said, that's all the time I got for this video. I'll see you tomorrow. Same place, same time, right here, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Frank Candles YouTube channel. Shout out to the Mafia. I love all you guys. That's all I got. Frank Candles out. Bing bong.
I need all the wins, yeah. Ain't no L's, I gotta get it, no call it quits, yeah. Gotta keep on moving no matter how hard it gets, yeah. Better move out the way, cause I'm coming with harder hits. My head is as hard as a brick, but I'm harder than all it is. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. My heart on my sleeve, stress, shield my greed. That's how I get it. Success ain't no giving. Some days I don't hit, I don't sleep. When I'm focused, I'm dangerous. Down, wonder when I'm anxious. Ain't no limit till I tank. I'm running on fumes. The opposition don't amaze. The roads racing through the pavement. Get your hands out of my bag. I know that's because I've been in it. I don't need the bag. I guess that's what happens when you taking care of your business. But some family, you do the math. I'm out of my pocket. Houston, we got a problem. I ain't perfect. Let them watch me elevating. Got them noxious. Cause I'm the pilot in the cockpit. Nose diving in the house. And woo. Watch out, get ahead. Watch out, get ahead. Watch out, get ahead. Woo. Watch out, set it up. Bet you I shut it down. Watch out, get a win. I don't think they really wanna come against the winner. Got a finger run up in on a grenade. I ain't never been there when you think you compare. I'm a line, but the winner about the cage. I need all the wins. Yeah. Ain't no L's, I gotta get it, no call it quits. Yeah. Gotta keep on moving no matter how hard it gets. Yeah. Better move out the way, cause I'm coming with harder hits. My head is as hard as a brick, but I'm harder than all it is. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out.
Hold up, guys. Hold up. I missed some super chats, guys. I apologize for that. But first off, shout out to Sin City Crypto, guys. Go check out Sin City Crypto. I was on their show earlier today. I saw some of you guys in there. But shout out to Sin City. I did not realize that I missed these super chats, guys. I don't think I've ever done that in the entire existence of this YouTube channel. So let me run down these really quick, and then I want to show you guys a quick little breakdown of that Frankie Candles Essential Indicator. But shout out to Creighton C. Says, I see the whales gave the ETF noobs the official crypto welcome. Shout out to Creighton C. We read that one. Wick said he was excited for the Mrs. Candles Sock Puppet TA show. We read the one from Ian. And then, Sin City says, shout out to the CandleMafia. Love this community as much as I love mine. Frankie the GOAT. Shout out to Sin City Crypto. We love our friends at Sin City, guys. Go check out their YouTube channel. They got some of the best high-quality information out there. And not only that, they are some of the best people you could possibly meet. So shout out to the boys over at Sin City. Thank you for having me on the show today, guys. Love hanging out with you. And then shout out to In-N-Out Crypto. Smash that like button. Go, Frankie. BTC to the moon. Shout out to In-N-Out Crypto. Appreciate that, bro. And yes, Bitcoin to the moon. Maybe to the floor first, but then the moon for sure. The final stop is always going to be the moon. Shout out to Crimson's girlfriend. Said, question to the Mafia mods. I won a hat back on October 10th, but it's not here. I've talked to Tyler and Tony. Could someone follow up with me, please? Shout out to Crimson's girlfriend at Tony D. If I had to guess, he probably already hit you up because he saw the super chat. But Tony D, if you could reach out to them, I'm sure you already did, but if you did not, please do that. And then Tony D said, breathe air. Shout out to G Money. Said, what up, Frankie? Can you chart Aurora? Looks good. Thank you, my dude. Shout out to G Money. I didn't realize that the super chats were there, but we will try to take a look at Aurora on tomorrow's live stream. But really quickly, guys, what I want to do here is I want to show you guys, give you a little intro into the Frankie Candles Essential Indicator. And I want to kind of walk you guys through it. It's not going to be a full tutorial or anything. I'm probably going to run for like 3 minutes. But I just kind of want to break down how I have it set up and just kind of, walk you guys through it, right? So first off, if you want to check out the free, this is totally free, obviously. This is basically, I wanted to kind of work with Sean from LuxAlgo to make this indicator, and basically the goal was to kind of encompass our TA in one indicator and try to automate as much of the TA as possible to make it easier for beginners, right? So if you're new out there, this is definitely going to be a cool tool for you, and again, it's completely free of charge. You can see we've gone through quite a few iterations, but if you just simply search my name, Frankie, you should see Frankie Candles right here, Frankie Candles Essentials, LuxAlgo. Go ahead and click that, and then you could favorite it so you don't have to search it every time. And then once you click it, you'll see down here it says first anchor point for the top-down volume profile. So this is essentially figuring out where you want to start your range, right? So you go ahead and click one time, and then you just go ahead and move your mouse, wherever you want to pull the range from, right? So if you want to just look at this little area of consolidation, you would pull it to here. If you want to do this whole area, you would pull it all the way to the end, just like a regular volume profile, right? And then you would just go ahead and click again, and simply put, you have something that looks very, very familiar, which is simply just a volume profile, right? Like, there's nothing really too much different about the actual volume profile aspect of it, and that is by design, right? So most of the time, you might find some small discrepancies, but you can see, like, you pull your regular volume profile and the Frankie Candles volume profile, you are getting essentially the same exact levels. I got to turn off this lock here so I don't pull a million profiles. But simply put, you have your value area high, your POC, and your value area low, but you'll actually notice that you do have some extra little indications here. And you may notice a little sauce can up there, and you may notice that after that sauce can, you get a big move back into the range, back to the POC, and then back to the low. And basically, guys, this is, I don't want anyone to get it twisted. This is not a signal, right? Like, when you see a sauce can, it doesn't mean just short, right? This is a confirmation. So basically, let me just run you guys through these actual settings and take a look here, right? So candle coloring. And we may actually, we may or may not have one of the developers come on and kind of break down exactly how certain things are calculated. But at the very least, obviously, I will break it down in a video. But candle coloring, you have simple, which is just simply, it changes it to the Frankie Candles brand colors. But there is no, the red candles are purple, the blue candles are green candles, right? So just simply changing the candle coloring, right? And then going back into the settings, you could change it to golden pocket, right? So if you change, now this actually changes your candle coloring based upon where your golden pocket is. Now, again, this is something that we may want to talk to the devs to figure out exactly how this is calculated, but Continuing on, these are the two candle colors. I play around with the golden pocket candle coloring. But for the if you want to keep it simple, just use simple. It just changes the candle colors to the brand. And then you could obviously just change that to whatever you want, right? And then coming down here, simply put, you could change your row size just like you can on a regular volume profile. So 100 is totally fine. If you wanted it to be a little bit more granular and you wanted more bars here, you could change it to something like 250, and you'll see you now have many, many, many more bars, right? It's actually kind of giving you like a moire effect here. But there you go. You just have more bars, and that's all the row size does, right? So it just gives you a little bit more of a granular kind of view into the actual visual volume profile, right? And then your width, right? So if you change this, this will just basically make your volume pop out a little bit further. This is obviously this is all just preference, right? So if you wanted your volume to stick out super far for some reason, you could do that. I like to keep it at around 30 to 35 just to kind of keep it out of the way, but while still being able to see where the significant areas of volume are. And then, typical stuff, you could change your candle colors, the bar colors of your volume, so if you wanted to make this maybe purple or something, you wanted to match, etc., you could kind of just change the colors there to whatever you want. This is all personal preference. Same thing, all the colors I'm not going to go through, right, because it's all personal preference, right? So there you go. And then continuing on, your range background is just this white box. If you want that to disappear, you could simply turn the opacity off, and then that will simply... I didn't do it. There you go. That will simply make the background disappear. That's, again, another personal preference. But continuing on here, you can extend to the right. This is, again, very similar to a regular volume profile. So if we pulled it back here and we wanted it to automatically extend to the right as new candles print, we would simply just go to the settings, click extend to right. But if you wanted to just say, look at this area of consolidation, let me go ahead and click here and drag it just to analyze this volume right here. This is, now the volume profile is just these candles right here, but if you hit extend to right, it will automatically extend to the most current candle. And if you use the volume profiles, that's pretty self-explanatory, right? But continuing on here, we're getting into some of the cool stuff. This is really what I want to cover, right? This is, on top of just the volume profile, this indicator will point out divergences on your candlesticks for you, right? That's what this red line is indicating. It's letting you know that you have a bearish divergence. Now, you might be thinking, well, where's the bearish divergence on? Well, it's set to signal bear divs on the RSI, right? So if there's an RSI bearish divergence, you will simply get this line, right? But the cool thing here is, and you could change all your lookbacks and stuff if you want it to be more or less sensitive. That's going to be somewhat preference. But the cool thing here, guys, you could change it to your MFI or your wave trend on Lux Algo. So if you are somebody who is using Lux Algo's oscillator, which I do highly recommend, let's pull up the indicator again. I just changed templates, so it disappeared. But if you are using the Lux Algo oscillator, this also marks out bearish divergences with the lines down here on your oscillator. And then if we go back in here and we change the RSI to wave trend, it will point out bearish divergences that are printing on Lux Algo. So it looks at the Lux Algo wave trend oscillator to find those divergences. And if you use some other indicator that is not, not the Lux Algo indicator, not an RSI, not the MFI, you can simply add whatever indicator you like to look at for your divergences by clicking external, right? So if we go ahead and bring up Market Cipher, and we are looking for bearish divergences, right? Let's go ahead and pull up the, let's go to the 4-hour, right? And we go back to the Frankie Candles Essentials. I keep switching templates. That's why it keeps disappearing. But as we look here, you can simply come into your settings, go to oscillator, click external, and then go to external oscillator, and you can select whatever indicator you're using as your oscillator to find your divergences. So for me, if you're using if you're using Market Cipher, what I like to look at is Market Cipher B light blue wave, because that's what we look for on those divergences. So click that. Now the indicator will simply search for bearish divergences on Market Cipher B, and you can see we have a high and a lower high, and then there you go. There's your divergence, and you indeed did print a sauce can up here, indicating that some parameters have been met to look for a potential drop back into your value area, potentially down to your POC, and then back down to your value area low. So there you go. Very, very cool feature that you could kind of just pick whatever indicator you want to find your divergences from, and then you can change the time frame you want to look up for your divergences on, as well as if you want the indicator to search for the divergence on the body of the candles or the wicks of the candles, right? Because sometimes you will have a divergence on the wicks, but not on the bodies, right? So you could toggle back and forth for that, and then you can filter according to the POC, right? So that essentially will only mark out certain divergences that are, I think, a certain distance away from the POC or outside of the value area. I actually think this should say filter according to value area. So it'll only show you divergences that print outside of the value area. That way, if you have a local divergence on the inside, you don't have all this clutter on the chart, and you're only seeing the divergences that you care about, which in the case of the volume profile trading that we do on the channel, would only be divergences outside, above the value area high or below the value area low. So let me go down to a lower time frame. There we go, right? So the sauce cans will only print, when you are outside of your value area, right? So right here, you deviate from your value area low, you put in some bullish divergences, and you get the sauce can letting you know that it may be a strong low, looking to get back into your value area low and then come up to your POC and eventually your value area high. And then you can see deviation, divergence, sauce can, back into the range, back to the POC. We tried to go to the value area low, didn't make it. Same thing. I think you guys get the point. Sauce cans will be printing on the important divergences that you see above and below the value area highs and lows. So there you go. Let's go back into the settings, and I will just break down a few more things for you guys. And then you could also, you could turn off the sauce cans if you prefer not to see them. You could simply just uncheck them. They will disappear, right? I like to see them. And then you could also show hidden divergences as well. I have those off by default. I think custom, or default, they are off. But if you like to look at hidden divergences, you can go ahead and check that box off. And there's also, display hidden divergences. There's little info panels here to explain everything. And then this is another really cool feature of the indicator. And basically, it is an auto fib, right? So essentially what this does is it pulls your fib for you, so you don't have to pull your fib. Now, obviously, chances are you're probably going to mix this with your regular fib if you want to pull more than one. But if you're a beginner and you just kind of want to see the important levels, you can simply go ahead and check your 786. I like to turn it blue, right? And then your 618 and your 0.65, right? You'll have to change this to the 6.5 and 618. That is your golden pocket, right? So essentially, you're going to want to this is basically how I have it set up, right? And then you can see here, it is pulling your fib from the low to the most current high, letting you know that you have golden pocket 786 confluence right here on the value area low. So this might look familiar when I do my TA on the show, right? I always like to look at the volume profiles. We pull our local fibs, find out where those retracement levels are. If we have confluence at the value area low, it could be a key level to look at for a bounce, right? Now, obviously, you're not just going to want to see the fib and then just long the fib for people who may be new. But obviously, this is basically, and then you can obviously save all your settings, right? You can go ahead, click save as default. And then when you go ahead and run your indicator, all these settings will be saved. So you don't have to keep changing them around. And then you can obviously add the 382 and the 236 if you're interested. And then, obviously you can change the color of these as well. If you like looking at those fib levels on top of the golden pocket 786. I particularly just like the golden pocket 786, so I leave it like that. But you might like looking at the 382, right? So you want that on your chart. And just because I don't have it on mine doesn't mean that you can't have it on yours, right? And then you can change your line here, letting you know what high to low it is pulling from. I recommend keeping that on, right? Even if you keep it very, very subtle, just so you know where the fib is being pulled from, right? So I know it's going from this low to that high. And then you can simply click this to invert the fib if you want. But I don't really play with that too much unless it is upside down. I will just click invert to pull it the correct way. So there you go, guys. That is a quick little rundown of kind of the settings and what you can do with this indicator. But again, we're going to get a little bit more in depth talking about exactly what goes into some of these calculations. But essentially, we trade it just like we trade the volume profiles, but you just get a little bit of an easier experience with all of the added auto features. And it's super cool. And like I said, I've been playing with this behind the scenes, and it does tend to hit pretty hard. But I do want to be very clear. I don't want anyone to, I just want to say this up front. I do want to be very clear. This is not, because I preach this all the time, and I do it for a reason, right? Because it's the truth. This is not a case where you pull your Frankie Candles Essential, see a sauce can, and short. That is not how it works, right? This is just letting you know that there may be a strong high formed based off the divergence outside of your value area. You're still going to have to do some other analysis to confirm the trade, right? If it was as easy as seeing a sauce can pop up and then you just enter the trade, if it was that easy, we would just set up a bot, right? And everybody would be rich and no one would have a job, right? I talk about this all the time. But these are confirmation signals, right? Very, very helpful. And granted, they do hit hard, right? No one should ever just trade off a signal, right? Just because they look like they're playing out perfect here doesn't mean that everyone that you long or short is going to play out that beautifully, though. So keep that in mind. And then also, just the value area extremities extend all the way to the right, which is super, super, super helpful because if you come on over to something like Solana, guys, taking a look here, right? If we zoom out to a higher time frame and I go ahead and remove the indicator and start a new one, right? Remember that $100 Solana prediction, right? If we pull our volume profile here, you can see that, and now this range is probably pulled not perfectly, right? It's not the exact candles that I want to pull it from, but really what this can help you with is, somewhat like predicting where price is likely to go, right? Because now you don't even have to draw your horizontal value area high and value area low. It automatically extends, right? So you can simply just pull your value area, right? It automatically extends to the right, and now you know that your value area over here is now automatically extrapolated to the right, giving to your current price action, right? Where we usually have to pull the volume profile, do 3 horizontal lines or 2 horizontal lines, and then label them. You just know that, if you wanted to look at the bull market high, right? So for me in general, right, if I were looking for the next target on Solana, we would probably be looking at a bull market range, which sits right up here. And now I know, hey, pretty close, $133, right? This is literally the value area high that we are looking at on our current Solana chart that we look at on the live stream right up here. Whoops. Right up here at about $133, right? Looking to, let's come out to the 8-hour, right? Same thing. We're just extrapolating this range, but we did it manually. But our volume profile, you just pull the range and it automatically extrapolates, letting you know that that next key zone is right up here. But our thing does it automatically, right? So just made to make your TA a little bit easier, guys. And again, we drop it for free, right? We're not looking to, we just wanted to gift this to the CandleMafia. I know a lot of people ask me, I know some people, I still don't know what volume profile you have to pay for or which one's free, but I know a lot of people say I can't use the volume profile because it's not, I have to have a paid version of TradingView, but we just figured we'll make a cooler, better volume profile with none other than Lux Algo, one of the biggest indicator companies, if not the biggest indicator company in the space. So shout out to Sean and the team at Lux Algo. We had an awesome time working with them on this indicator, and hopefully you guys find it extremely useful yourself. And if you guys find a different way to use it than what we do, please let us know and tag us so we can see. Maybe you guys will show me how you guys use it, and I'll start doing that, and then you guys become the teacher. So shout out to the CandleMafia. Thank you all for tuning in and sticking around for that last little Frankie Candles Essential sauce. And with all that being said, that's all the time we got for tonight's live stream. I'll see you on the next one tomorrow. Same place, same time, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Shout out to the CandleMafia. We'll see you tomorrow. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the roll, here we go, yeah we winning by a landslide, never see me coming, I'm a landmine, yeah I ain't taking orders in command like, yeah you about to see me on demand like, you know on demand, if you ain't know, you about to understand, yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand, yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that, yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag, yeah, and we ain't never going back now, future expedited, now we on the fast track now, they won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now, it's time to act out, here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the roll, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah, maxed out,